Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Bad Comic Review Streams. Woo! Woo! We're in the 60s. Number 65. How's everybody doing? I know I haven't done one of these in like a month. Been kind of busy. So, how's everybody out in listener land? Let's see who's in the chat. I see Della Hayes. How's it going? Shady Grin, who's already left and gone to bed. How you doing, man? Hey, Adabisi. Hey, Camel. Thanks for dropping the link. Hey, Nobody Not Me. Hey, Jim. Hey, Keldrick. Oh, beautiful day out, huh? Hi, JB. Hey, Frosted. Well, I hope if any of you are in Florida, you are staying safe and out of the water. Hey, Simon. Give everybody a minute to filter in here, and then we'll get into it. We got kind of a lot to talk about since I haven't done one of these in a month. Hey, Cannibal. How you doing, man? I am right on time. Hey, Viking. How you doing, man? Good morning to you, too. Florida's getting pounded. Listening to the fan fiction replay, I'm kind of nervous. Yeah, that was disastrous. Hey, Sora. Hey, Best Remy. All right, we should probably get rolling here. If you're new to the stream, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. And if you're feeling generous, you can donate to me at the Streamlabs link pinned at the top of the chat. Thanks to the lovely Hate Camel. Also in the description, and it'll probably be floating through the chat box occasionally. I will be checking the Streamlabs in between articles or topics. Going by monkey rules, are we? I started on time. I started at 12 a.m., like it said. Well, wait, you could recommend a good website for to order back issues from. Lone Star, they're a little overpriced at times. It's mycomicshop.com. Also, New England Comics is pretty good. eBay is a real mixed bag. There's another one that I've ordered from a few times that the name escapes me off the top of my head. But it's like, it's got nerd in the title. They were really good. They did a really good packing job. Hey, Hammond, how you doing? Hey, Cigar Chomping Penguin. Spud, how you doing? Isn't trade paperbacks better than back issues value-wise? No. Trade paperbacks don't really have a whole lot of value most of the time. Single issues are where the value is. So if you're looking to invest or make money, back issues are generally where it's at. But if you're looking for the complete run or looking to just read them, trade paperbacks are much better for that. Hey, Rotten Corpse. Oh, I don't have a schedule, Simon. No, there's no schedule here. I scheduled it for midnight, and that was when I went live. That's it. That's as close as I get to a schedule. Because actually saying, oh, I'm going to do these every week on Wednesday at 6 p.m., that will never work out for me because something always comes up and it'll happen like twice. So, yep, no organized schedule here. You watch the replay if you miss it live. That's about all I got. Just spent 3 hours buying a new car, followed by an Alice Cooper concert. Nice. Nice. Congratulations, man. Definitely not investing, just a collector looking to fill a few missing items. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at anymore. I have a collection in the sense that there's a lot of comics, but I'm not buying them for the investment anymore. I'm buying the ones I want to read. And most of them are going to be cycled through. Once I'm done reading them, they go in a box, and most of them are going to get sold or given away. Yeah, we'll talk about that, Spud. Don't worry. Still haven't figured out the schedule stream thing. I just go live sometimes. I'm using StreamYards, and one of the options when you're setting up a stream is at the bottom under the description. You can click a box labeled schedule stream, and then you just type in what time you want to go, and hit that, and it'll just put up a placeholder screen. That's it. StreamYards is real easy to use. I like it quite a bit, actually. Hey, Lesser, how you doing? Spent 3 hours walking around the closest major streets to me. Ooh, that sounds horrible. Sounds like exercise. My moral opposition to that is limitless. What the hell? Stop doing that. All right, let's get into this. First up is, as somebody mentioned in chat just now, Coolio died. Age 59. That's surprisingly young. Wonder how many shots he had. Coolio, Grammy award-winning rapper, producer, and actor, best known for Gangsta's Paradise, has died. He was 59. His longtime manager, Jarrell Posey, confirmed the news to Variety, saying that Coolio died around 5 p.m. on Wednesday afternoon. According to TMZ, Coolio was found at a friend's house. Now, everybody that grew up in the 90s knows who he is. There's obviously not a lot more information available right now on what happened, but could have been natural causes, could have been drugs. You know, Hollywood types, my first go-to is drugs. Happy birthday on Friday, Rotten Corpse. Don't forget to tell Monkey so we can sing to you on Monkey in the Morning. Weird Al wins the long game. He always does. Are any comics these days really investments? That's a trick question because yes and no. Some of them are valuable in the short term, but the longevity for a lot of new stuff is just not there. So yeah, unfortunately, Coolio passed. Not really much more to say on that. We don't really have a lot of information to go with yet. That's tragic, and my condolences to his family and all that, but I was never a huge fan of his. Yes, Frosted, I believe he did appear in there. But yeah, it's tragic. Now, Warner Brothers Discovery is kind of in the news a lot today, or last couple days, I should say. So let's take a look at a little bit of what's going on there. David Zaslav had to come out and say that Warner Brothers Discovery is not for sale in a town hall with the staff because it got so much play on the internet. This is from the Hollywood Reporter. Warner Brothers Discovery on Wednesday held a company-wide global town hall with CEO David Zaslav and his top creative deputies discussing the current state of the company and their vision for where it should be going. Zaslav was joined in the room by HBO chief Casey Blows? I don't know. Warner Brothers film chiefs Michael DeLuca and Pamela Abdi, and Warner Brothers TV topper Channing Dungy, whatever, according to an attendee. The executives acknowledged the disruption and difficulty all media companies are facing in the current environment, and also the challenges in integrating Warner Media and Discovery, knowing that it's difficult to say goodbye to colleagues who left the company amid the reorganization. They've fired a lot of people, and a lot of that is redundancies, but also they've canceled a lot of stuff like Batgirl. We talked about that last time. Oh, hey, Mark. How you doing? Yeah, I'm always doing something. Monkey didn't stream today. He wasn't feeling good. He had some stomach issues. So I thought I'd do a stream tonight. I've been trying to do these more regular, like at least once a week, but it really hasn't worked out. Yeah, Warner Brothers and Discovery merged, but there's been a rumor going around that they were up for sale to like NBC Universal, and that's what they're shooting down here. I do love HBO Max too. That is really, really good. I was surprised by how much I liked HBO Max because they do have a good selection on there. And quite honestly, Netflix kind of blows these days. It's way overpriced. HBO Max is overpriced too, but at least there's stuff I want to watch on there. Zaslav also emphasized that he and his teams are committed to the long haul as a pure play content company that is not thinking about any other deal making despite rumblings about sale talk down the line. Warner Brothers Discovery is absolutely not for sale, Zaslav told attendees, highlighting the company's assets and global reach. We have everything we need to be successful. He's not wrong about that. They have a lot of IP over at Warner Brothers. And now that they have Discovery in there too, they've got all those garbage reality shows and a lot of different content that diversifies their selection quite a bit. And that merger should be pretty interesting if they're careful with it and don't just piss all their money away like Disney has been. Zaslav and other top executives also touted their respective lines of business, with HBO and HBO Max getting a shout out for the recent House of the Dragon launch, which I still have not watched, but I've heard good things, and even Mark just said it was pretty good. And it really can't be worse than that Rings of Power crap. Because I saw the first episode of that, and I was like, wow, I felt secondhand embarrassment, and I like bad movies. So you get the general idea. They're saying it's not for sale. But if we jump over to the next article, The Wrap is reporting Warner Brothers cooked the HBO Max subscriber numbers, misled shareholders in the Discovery merger, and now they're getting sued. Warner Brothers cooked its HBO Max subscriber numbers by as many as 10 million and misled shareholders in other ways that violate the Securities Act to complete its merger with Discovery, according to a class action lawsuit that claims it could potentially represent hundreds of thousands of plaintiffs. I doubt that highly because most people don't really pay attention to stuff. The lawsuit was filed last Friday in New York on behalf of the Collinsville Police Pension Board, an Illinois-based shareholder of Warner Brothers Discovery stock, which it accepted in trade for its pre-merger Class C common Discovery shares. At the time of the merger, Discovery shares were valued at $24.78. As of Tuesday, Warner Brothers Discovery shares are trading at just above $11. Yeah, they lost an assload of money because if this is a pension board, they got a lot of shares. Hey, Kyle, how you doing? So diversity is their strength? Well, it can be in business if you have enough intellectual property because you can always license stuff off. How's it going, Dangerous? I watch movies, TV shows from perfectly legitimate websites. Yeah, right? Hey, Ryan. I didn't do anything to him. He's hundreds of miles away from me. And I do not know any voodoo priests, despite what others claim. As for my evil plans, that's none of your business. Hey, Hazmat. Lawsuit names Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav and CFO Gerner, something I can't pronounce, as defendants. It kind of goes on. I'll drop the link if anybody wants to read this. But this could be a real big deal because if they did deceive people, it's not good. Gotham goes off Netflix tomorrow. I'm sure it'll go to HBO Max. Yeah, probably. I still haven't seen that last season other than the final episode, which it was all right, but there was obviously stuff I missed. No, not Warner Herzog. Shady business practices associated with a streaming service? I know, I was shocked too. Hi, Patch Wolfbear. Warner Media was concentrating on investments, blah, blah. You get the idea. They're suing over this. And it goes on for a little while. So there you go. They're getting sued because they're maybe fudging their numbers, which really wouldn't surprise me. But I don't think that Zaslav is stupid enough to have done that. Somebody else might have, but I don't think he did because he seems like he's actually pretty smart guy, and he would know that he's going to get in a lot of trouble for that. Yeah, I want to watch that last season because I think I might have missed part of the season before that too, because there was a lot going on that I had no idea what that was all about. Hey, Common Gayview, how you doing? All right, let's laugh at Netflix because they're dumb. And I bet people at work there probably hate their jobs. This comes from Screen Rat. Netflix shoots entire season of new show and then cancels it, which they've done a lot recently, including like Jupiter's Legacy and some other one I forget off the top of my head. They've been doing this a lot. So they filmed Grendel from the Dark Horse comics and indie books before that, which great premise, cool looking outfit. They filmed 8 episodes and were like, nah, fuck this. Netflix scrapped their upcoming series Grendel despite having already shot the entire season. Grendel originated as a series of comic books by Matt Wagner. Although the series began in 1982, it was originally published by Comico. Dark Horse has been publishing. The series is taking over after Comico declared bankruptcy. Comico had some pretty cool stuff. So did Eclipse and even Amazing Comics, but the indie market fell apart. Grendel's the mantle of author Hunter Rose, who puts on a mask for his nightly exploits as an assassin and crime lord. Over the years, Grendel's grown in popularity, even featured in a 1983 crossover with Batman. Netflix's 8-episode Grendel was the first attempt to bring the character and his world into live action. The series was originally announced in September 2021 with Supernatural executive producer Andrew Dabb attached as showrunner. Abu Bakr Ali was cast in the title role, joined by Kevin Corrigan as Barry Palumbo, Julian Black Antelope as Argent, Emma Ho as Stacy Palumbo, and the Flash alum Andy Mateus as Larry Stoller. He's got kind of a goofy head shape. Is he an alien? He's got like a 6 head here. I feel like there should be some Klingon ridges. That's mean. Deadline reported that Netflix had made the decision not to move forward with Grendel. While they have pulled the series, they have given the producers the option to shop the show around and find a new home. However, another wrinkle to the story arrived thanks to an Instagram post from Mateus. When lamenting the show's cancellation, he revealed they shot not just a pilot, just a few episodes, but an entire season. While it's an unusual situation, is it unheard of for shows to switch networks while in the late stages of development? Previous examples include Netflix's Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, which was originally developed for NBC. Also, Community did that. They did their last season with like Yahoo, and it suffered heavily for that. It'd be entirely possible for Grendel to be picked up by another network or streaming platform thanks to Netflix's deal with the producers. Considering the fact that Grendel is a comic book property, it would likely find a home on another platform with an established history of superhero adaptations. I don't think that's true. I think anybody would take it because superhero stuff's still really popular. While HBO Max isn't likely to take on a new scripted series at the moment, Disney Plus focuses more or less exclusively on MCU property. No, they focus on Disney properties, you idiot. Paramount Plus is probably their best shot. Although there are some other ones they might be able to do, like AMC exclusive, like AMC Plus or something like that. But only 8 episodes, that's a rough one. However, one thing that's unclear is how far Grendel Season 1 got into post-production. Although the season is in the can, it's not fully completed visual effects and editing. This could potentially cost a pretty penny to whoever picks up the show, in addition to publicity and advertising costs. Considering the fact that the show has already been written and shot, it would still be a relative steal for another company to pick up the season and see how it's received by audience before deciding whether or not to renew it. Yeah, I think that's really the key here is they've already filmed it. So the fact that they've already got the primary elements done, they don't have to pay their actors, they don't have to pay for the film, the sets, all that stuff. They just have to pay for the post-production. And based on what I've seen of She-Hulk, it looks like you can cut a lot of corners and people won't really do much. So if you're a Grendel fan, you can hold out hope this shows up somewhere. Hey, Retro, how you doing? Let's see who else entered the chat while I wasn't looking. Hey, Spoonie. No relation to the Beowulf character. Less interested now. Or I know, right? Listening to old CDs, I remember why they went away. Don't miss the hassle. I have a small stack of CDs, but mostly I have MP3s now. Everything got converted when I first went to iTunes, and I've just kind of left it in MP3 or WMV, whatever it got put in. But I still have some CDs in storage, I think. But I only know where like 6 of them are right now. And there's a Kenny Rogers CD right next to me that I think is my mom's because I don't remember buying it. So I have CDs, but I do prefer physical media just because I don't trust the digital services not to just delete shit. It's 90% done. Yeah, it's easily 90% done. How to flush money down the toilet, right? Better than you have been. I hope things kick up for you, man. Hey, Comrade Kitty. Have several thousand CDs and about 1,000 vinyl. Wow, nice. Vinyl I like, but I can't store it because I tend to break things fairly regular when they're fragile. That's why you don't trust me in like expensive places or museums because I bump into things. I'm a big Herman Munster type. So yeah, it's not a good idea to let me near any fragile valuables. And definitely don't hand them to me. But yeah, I like vinyl. I grew up with it obviously, but it's a pain in the butt to store and move around, and I'll break it. So that's not real good. Debating my physical movie collection tonight as I pack them. Yeah, I have a ton of films. Obviously mostly DVDs, but I have several boxes of VHS tapes too, stuff that never made it to DVD or that's really, really hard to find. So yeah, I understand that conundrum. But I have most of those in storage right now because I'm going to be probably moving at some point in the next 6 months. But yeah, it's a pain because it's a giant pain. They take up a ton of space. Epic shelf for my vinyl getting all out of storage. Nice. Seen your Hope Diamond video. This Jack of Shoggoth, large, clumsily, all-consuming. I'm too lazy for that. Physical media, Jack. I know, right? I'm old, Assassin. I like having the disc to put in. I feel like I bought something then. Speaking of which, I just got a new movie and it's super awesome. It's called Sky Sharks. And the subheading is the sea is for fish, the sky is for sharks. It's got sharks with the machine guns on them. It's zombie Nazis and flying sharks. It's got a bunch of people you've never heard of, plus Amanda Biercy and Tony Todd. And I was already on board when I saw Sky Sharks, but then I saw Tony Todd was in it. I was like, I'm buying that. And that's $5 I don't regret spending. It's probably a bad impulse shop move, but what are you gonna do? Yeah, dangerous. Never hand me a child. You could set up a yurt in a park. Yeah, no kidding. I could probably do that in like California and get away with it. The original version of Star Wars on VHS. I also have that, but I can't find it. I know I own it. I just don't know where it is. Which I think my dad swiped it and it's over at his house. Yeah, Rotten, I understand that. They cannot edit or memory hole your DVD. Not yet. At some point they might come seize it, but we've seen that with there was some cartoon they stopped doing recently and they deleted it off the Amazon. And people were complaining because now they can't access it. And they paid money for it. But that's why you don't buy things on streaming services. Because it can be taken away. Need to have a movie night. Yeah, I was thinking about that. I should resurrect my bad movie review channel. It's got like 60 videos on it, 50, something like that. I'll drop the link if anybody wants. I've been thinking about that a lot because I keep buying really bad movies really cheap. Like I found a bunch of them for $1 the other day. And a couple of big ones too, like Argo, I got that for $1. And the Wolverine I got for $1. So yeah, I might resurrect that channel, just occasionally do movie reviews. But if anybody's interested in checking that one out, I'll drop the link for it. I haven't done anything with it in a very long time. So they last video was 5 years ago. But there are some good movie reviews on there. Thanksgiving, a great film. Old 37, if you haven't seen that, I highly recommend that. That was a lot of fun. So there we go. That's a little stroll down memory lane. Argo was a pretty good movie for not much happening. I saw the documentary on it years ago, but I haven't seen the movie. So I was like, yeah, I'll give you $1 for that. Why not? A lot of digital things are buying a license on the fine print. May or may not specify how long. Yeah, that's what bothers me about it. I won't do that. The one who was on Married with Children. Yeah, might have been. It looks like her. I don't know. I'd have to double check, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was her. It's not like she's getting a lot of work. So poor man's Sharknado. Oh no, there's no tornadoes in this. These are zombie Nazis riding flying sharks. Cheap bad movies can be more entertaining than big budget flicks. Oh yeah, because they know that they're low budget trash and they're just having fun with it. As long as the characters are taking it seriously, so it looks like they're, responding accordingly to the situation, it's a lot more fun. There's a lot of bad movies. Sharknado kind of suffers from this, and it made it worse, where people are aware they're in a shitty movie and they're overacting and they're not trying. They're just being silly. That's not as fun. Oh no, Final Destination is a big budget film based on my film collection. The Incredible Bulk, or The Amazing Bulk is what it was called. That is in my film collection, just like Suburban Sasquatch. Wild Zero, I don't think I've seen that. Want flying sharks with freaking lasers on their heads, right? Ben Affleck is legit a pretty good director. I think he is. I think he's a pretty good director. I think he's a pretty decent actor too. He's just kind of full of himself. Made with clip art, yes, it was, and I highly recommend watching it if you haven't. It was right up there. I think that was a much more low budget film than Cool Cat, because everybody talks about Cool Cat Saves the Kids, and I own that too. But The Amazing Bulk was probably the lowest rung on the B movie chart you could get before you got into like the equivalent of a YouTube video. Bullets for the Dead zombie western. Ooh, I'll write that down. Yeah, I've seen some really low budget stuff over the years, but man, The Amazing Bulk, that really took the cake. Because like you go back and watch like The Amazing Colossal Man, and even though that's low budget schlock for its era, everybody was taking it seriously, and you're like, haha, this is silly. Then you watch The Amazing Bulk, and you're like, were you people trying? What is this? Or were you all drunk when you did this? Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. Sharknado's there are two types of B movies. There's the ones that are self-aware that they're bad movies, and then there's ones where they're actually trying. Like The Room. They were trying to make a good movie, so everybody's all serious in it. And that's what adds a lot of fun to it. But Sharknado kind of ruined it for everybody, because now if they know they're making a low budget movie, everybody's just kind of goofing off. Like Monster took itself very seriously, even though it's about a poop monster. Have you seen the Velocipaster? Oh yeah. I've got a copy around here somewhere. I haven't watched it in a while, but yeah, that's a pretty good one. Velocipaster, Shark Exorcist was surprisingly fun. I just picked one up called Venom. I haven't watched. It's not the superhero movie. It's a different thing. And of course, pretty much anything with old martial arts films. I like those, like Cynthia Rothrock, China O'Brien 1 through 3. Angel, where this teenage whore is the main character. It's really dumb. Plan 9 combined with Rock and Roll High School, Amp to 11. Oh, well, you're selling me here, Retro. I think I saw the advertisements. Oh, thanks for a link in the show, Assassin. Yeah, Ginger, I saw MST3K when I was in college, when it first really hit cable. And yeah, like Frosted said, I joined them on their nights, but whenever I can. But yeah, it's I had seen most of those movies before they did them, so I was already familiar with the plot. So like um, pretty much anything by Stuart Gordon and Roger Corman, I've probably seen it. And I've even seen There's Always Vanilla by George Romero, which is one of the most boring fucking films I've ever watched. It's right up there with Titanic for things I never want to watch again. Because they obviously didn't finish filming the movie and then could only get 1 or 2 actors to go back and film some additional scenes. So there's this weird narration through it to segue the scenes that were filmed, and it still doesn't make any sense. There's a sort of linear thought pattern to it because they had to splice all these scenes together and they had the main actor still in it, but the movie obviously wasn't supposed to go the way that it ends up. It was really dumb. Dead 7. That sounds familiar. I may have seen that. Classic kung fu movies. Nice. Yeah, I was watching Shout Factory on Twitch. They have their own Twitch channel. They do a lot of the DVD releases for some of the more obscure stuff, and they played fucking Ultraman last night. Ultraman is obviously one of my favorite shows because it's fucking awesome. And they were playing that and the Roy Rogers show. So if you're not following them on Twitch, I highly recommend it if you got a Twitch channel. The Brain That Wouldn't Die. Nice. That's a classic. Yeah, we used to watch those when I worked security years and years ago. The guard shack that I sat in, because I was guarding an empty property at the time. The videos are on one of my channels for me walking around there. But I didn't really have to do much. I just have to walk around every couple of hours. So I'd sit there and watch TV. And eventually we got a DVD player where I watched 66 seasons of TV in a year. But the channel that was most easily to access with the little TV we had played bad movies over the course of the evening. After about midnight, they'd start playing them. And I watched a ton of movies that way. But yeah, most of the black and white stuff I'd probably watched when I was in high school and went to the video store. We had this awesome video rental place near where I lived, and every 10th rental was free. So we'd go in and get 5 or 6 movies, or the 11th one was free. So we'd get 5 movies for $5 from the non-new release sections, and then watch those, and then we'd get free movies, and then we'd use the free one on a good movie. Decker Shadow? No, I don't think I know who that is. Yeah, Titanic made me glad the ship sank too. Sandy Frank should be sainted, right? I love when they try to combine 2 episodes of a failed show and try and make a movie, like Riding with Death. Yeah, or it's obviously a pilot for a show that didn't go anywhere. They did that with My Stepmother's an Alien, but that ended up being like an 8 or 10 episode show. But I don't think it had, because I think Rebecca De Mornay was in that, and she was smoking hot. I think that's what it was. But yeah, they've done that a couple times. The one we watched the other day on MST3K was like that. Chinese Super Ninjas. The Seven Golden Vampire, or Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires. has Christopher Lee in it for like 10 minutes, and then it's just a kung fu movie with hopping vampires. Fucking great film. Highly recommended. Of course, nobody will watch movies like that with me anymore because they're like, hey, Jack, you want to come over and watch some movies? Sure. You want me to bring any? No. Classic cheesy movie. She loved Highlander and was rolling on the ground watching Black Sheep. I love Black Sheep. The only kind of film you could film in New Zealand is a movie about zombie sheep. Yeah, not the Chris Farley movie. No. Creature features close to where you lived. Those monster movies like Godzilla and such. No, we had Chopsaki Theater when I was a kid. We'd get stations out of Detroit, and it would be like Chopsaki Theater and um, monster movies that were like Godzilla and stuff like that. But they'd also show Italian horror films, and that's where I first was introduced to Dario Argento. Was on, I think it was Channel 50 out of Detroit or Channel 20, and they would play them, and it was fairly graphic for I was like 8. So I saw a ton of great Italian horror films that way. Saw Zombie. There was this one that I don't remember the name of, where they were trying to drive this girl insane, and she had this hiding spot behind a painting. It was like a little alcove, but they plastered it over, and they'd killed her brother and all this other stuff. But I don't remember the name of it, and I haven't been able to track it down because it's not exactly a lot to go on. Don't sleep on Christopher Lee's metal band. Christopher Lee was an all-around real man, possibly the inspiration for James Bond. And nobody can compare to Christopher Lee. You bring movies, right? Fugitive Alien. I think I've seen that. I don't remember. Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. They're okay. They're too long. Too much walking around and longing stairs. With Bill Kennedy? I don't remember. I was a kid, dude. Argento films on broadcast heavy. Damn, we got soft, right? Like, there was a lot of stuff cut out. Like, Zombie 2 didn't have the zombie wrestling the shark scene. Well, not the entire thing of it. They toned a lot down. Tomb of the Blind Dead, I saw that on TV. They got away with a lot more back then. Creature from the 80s. Yeah, I think I have that on DVD. And I have Mutant with Rutger Hauer, which is a fun film. He tried to kill me with a forklift. Sorry, I am way off in tangent mode now. It's been one of those days. The Eagles and Lord of the Rings were assholes. Yeah, they were. And I don't blame them. They got a bunch of filthy hobbits and humans riding them. Strip nude for your killer once. Something about the title just grabbed my attention. Right? There was one. What was this? It's an Italian film that's set in New York. Forget the name off the top of my head. But it's about the serial killer who calls in and makes like this duck voice and quacking sounds before he kills people. It's such a stupid fucking movie. But we watched that one on broadcast TV, and it was pretty heavily edited. And then my brother, like a couple years later, he rented some movies and accidentally rented that one, and also rented Alice, Sweet Alice. And if you haven't seen that, that's a surprisingly good film because I watched it again more recently, and it was a pretty interesting flick. But the duck one was still stupid, and I own that somewhere. With Dario Argento, you come for the art design and stay for the gore. With Lucio Fulci, you come for the gore and stay for the art design. Yeah, pretty much. Cast a Deadly Spell in The Witch Hunt. Different actors to some of my favorite TV movies. Yeah, I've seen both those. Witch Hunt, I thought was no Cast a Deadly Spell. I think was probably the stronger movie. Yeah, when nobody, Tom and Jerry, you can't do a lot of Bugs Bunny stuff. You can't do. There's just we've become a very soft, coddled society. Yeah, you do. Disco Duck. No, it wasn't that. It was something like Killer in New York or something like that. The New York Ripper. That might have been it. 1982 sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds more correct. Although Disco Duck is a movie I would watch. It could be like a Howard the Duck, but set in the 70s. And yeah, he's into disco music. All right, we should probably move along. I don't think you want to sit here for 2 hours listening to me ramble on about movies that I like. That's the one with the duck killer. Okay, thank you. Yeah, New York Ripper. I know I've got a copy of it somewhere, but it's in storage because I don't like the movie. But when I was trying to do the bad movie reviews, I was like, well, I'm going to get a bunch of the movies I've already seen so I can review them. And I got them all on DVD, and I got most of them really cheap because they're bad movies. And then I was like, oh, yeah, I hated this movie. It's going near the bottom of the pile. But then there were a lot of movies I liked, like Slave Girls from Beyond Infinity, that I was like, oh, I'm absolutely watching this tonight. And I'd sit there and watch a whole bunch of movies. I still have a stack of Sonny Chiba movies I haven't watched. Bug Shades, Muggsy Baby yeah, the Muggsy Baby, and the one where he's shooting Indians when he's dressed like Custer, and there's one where he tricks Yosemite Sam into crossing the Mason-Dixon line, and he dresses up like a slave and hands him a whip and says, "Don't beat me," and then a term that denotes that Yosemite Sam may have some ownership, and then he runs off and comes back dressed like Lincoln. I'll try, Oki. I'm easily distracted, so that's probably going to happen. All right, let's take a look at some actual good news involving comics. From comicbook.com. Marvel Tales Anthology celebrates Avengers 2, Wonder Man, and Beast. They're reprinting this miniseries as a one-shot. They've been doing this a lot. They did this with Contest of Champions and some of the Marvel Tales with Captain Britain. They did a Spider-Man one that was really shitty, and a Captain America one that I didn't even bother with. This one I would buy, except I already own the issues, and they only go for about $2 a piece. So don't pay $8 for it if you have a decent comic shop near you, because you really shouldn't pay more than like $2.50 for any of these. It wasn't that good, but they were written by Roger Stern with art by Mark Bagley. So the art's actually pretty good. This is the original cover. This is the new one, which this is far weaker art. I mean, look at his arms. They don't make any sense. These at least look like human arms. Beast looks a little weird, but he looks creepy over here. Like he looks like he's gonna go sniff some kids Biden style. The Where Biden. They're showcasing the epic bromance between Hank McCoy and Simon Williams, developed during their time as Avengers. It's an action-packed romp. Whenever they use the word romp, you know they're trying to be silly and cute. It's like using the word wacky. Usually means something sucks. But like I said, this is actually a pretty good miniseries. It was only 3 issues. And they're going to want $10 for this. Was it 8 or 10? I don't remember. Come on. Doesn't say. Well, I thought I'd share because I actually liked this. It's going on sale January 2023, not 2022. So if you're interested in seeing Wonder Man and the Beast written well, or at least a lot better than they are now, and more interesting from a good era of comics, there you go. It'll probably cost about $10. You can buy the reprint as one volume or track down the 3-issue miniseries for less. Romp equals butt sex. It does these days, but no, there's no homosexuals in this. But it did come from the era of Heroes Return, when they actually were doing really good stuff with the main titles, because they got really good teams on them. After Heroes Reborn fiasco ended, they started the Avengers with Kurt Busiek, and then Fantastic Four had somebody, and then Claremont took over, and that was probably the best Fantastic Four run since John Byrne. And Captain America was written by Mark Waid. And what was the other title they relaunched? Oh, Iron Man was also written by Busiek for a long time. The Thor book was written by Roger Stern. There were some really good books for like 2 years, and then it mostly fell apart. But this came out right in that relaunch era, so I would definitely say check it out if you get a chance. Oh, thank you, Retro, for the donation. Like, share, and give Jack money. I like where your head's at. That's a good idea. Everybody should listen to Retro. He's a very smart person. If you want to support the show, hit the like button, share it on your social media, subscribe if you haven't, hit that bell for notifications. I don't know if it does anything, but why not? It's like a talisman. And if you're feeling generous, you can toss me a couple bucks at the Streamlabs because I'm poor and hungry. Yeah, comrade, we're gonna get to that. That's in the queue here. Don't worry. There's some really upsetting things going on with comics right now. But I wanted to put a good positive story in there, and reprinting a decent miniseries from the mid 90s or late 90s, I should say. I think that one was 2000 actually. Whatever. An actual good miniseries getting reprinted, worth pointing out. Now let's talk about some dog shit. And by dog shit, I mean over at DC Comics, DC's Danger Street is the genius response to an infamous failed idea. So you see who we got here. This is the Starman from the 70s, Disco Starman, Metamorpho, and Warlord. Now I know you're wondering, what the hell do these people have to do with anything? Well, Warlord, it was an awesome comic by Mike Grell back in the 70s and 80s. He wrote, I think, the first 75 issues or so of the series. It was awesome. He was in the Hollow Earth, where the Atlanteans had fled to when the Atlantis first sank. That's why it's different for the Atlanteans in the Hollow Earth than the ones that live in Atlantis, where Aquaman lives, because they adapted to breathing underwater, and these guys had fled to the Hollow Earth, and basically their entire system of government collapsed and turned into like a feudal society where it's like Conan the Barbarian, but all the old tech's still floating around, and I love those stories. So a new trailer for DC's upcoming limited series, Danger Street, has been released and gives fans an inside look at what to expect. In the teaser, Tom King, what? Nope, right there, I'm out. Not buying this. Discusses Danger Street in a modern update to one of the publisher's most ambitious ideas. So I actually reviewed the book series that he's talking about, and that was number one special. Number one comic special was a attempt to bring in, it was first issue special, that's what it was called. It was a 13-issue series, and they were trying to introduce new characters, or characters that hadn't been used in a while. So Metamorpho had an issue, Dr. Fate had an issue, and then they introduced this version of Starman. I know you can't see his head there, but he's like this kind of like grayish blue character. They introduced Warlord there. The first issue led with Atlas, and they're basically doing a mini series that uses all those characters, including Lady Cop and the Dingbats and the Green Team, which they did do something with the Green Team a while ago when they did a Prez series. I don't know. And then, according to Tom King, his main thought behind Danger Street was, what if all these people existed in the same world? They do, dumbass. If you read the first issue specials, you know that all exist in the DCU. Yeah, Lady Cop and the Dingbats, the cast will be a bit more modernized. So she's probably not going to be a blonde white woman anymore, and the Dingbats are all going to be a bunch of the gays. From the sound of it, King, along with some other people I don't care about, are really aiming to give DC's forgotten characters the substance they never got when first issue special first hit the stands. Again, Metamorpho is still around, and Warlord ran for 133 issues, plus the first issue special, number 8, that he first appeared in, plus like 5 annuals. So, and he has appeared in like Green Arrow and even Young Justice. It's not like that's an obscure character. He even had a toy. They had a toy of the Warlord, which I wish they'd redo. In the long, long history of DC Comics, there's plenty of books that, while innovative, failed to find a receptive audience. No. What this sounds like is that they're worried that their trademarks are going to expire with these characters because they're fairly obscure. This guy hasn't been seen since the 90s Starman run. And Warlord, he only pops up occasionally, so they got to renew these guys and put them out there. And like the Dingbats haven't been seen in a long time. Lady Cop. That way, anybody trying to do a Lady Cop comic book will run into problems with DC because they could be like, well, we just published a book on that. I need therapy for my mommy issues, Tom King. Yes, that Tom King. Yeah, it'll turn into another navel gazing. All these people have issues with women nonsense. And that art sucks. Look at his arms to head ratio. This arm is more muscular than this arm. What is that about? Hey, Costin, how you doing, man? Warlord review coming when? I reviewed the first 48 issues. Those should be in the DC playlist. He might even have his own playlist. I don't remember. Yeah, I reviewed a lot of those. I've got I think all but 2 issues of the entire run. So I just haven't gotten back to them. See, I thought I had a Warlord playlist. I did those real early on, so some of them don't have images, but yeah, he's got his own playlist. There you go. Got it. Yeah, it's right there. That's the Warlord playlist. Should be the first 48 issues and first issue special number 1. It's his wanking arm. It might be. That really wouldn't surprise me. So yeah, Tom King's gonna ruin some more characters because for some reason DC can't stop giving him work. No, thanks for watching, nobody. Appreciate it. I don't understand the obsession with Tom King because he's not that good of a writer and he has the same things over and over again. It's a bunch of navel gazing where nothing actually happens, and when something does happen, it's really boring. All right, let's jump over to ICV2 for a minute and talk about something that really, really drives me into a blind rage. Hey, Pete, how you doing, man? I'm doing okay. Hope you're doing well. So, one of my pet peeves in the comic industry is variant covers. And they can't stop doing that for some reason because it's a cash grab. They can sell the same book a dozen times because they just put different covers on, then they take the masthead off and call it a virgin cover, and people will pay ridiculous amounts of money. It's basically the entire premise of Dynamite's existence is to sell variant covers because their covers are amazing and the interior art is at best mediocre 80% of the time. Every now and then they get a really good artist that, or at least a passable one. I don't generally hate the art. I give a lot of leeway for indie art, but the variant cover thing really annoys me because I've so many times accidentally picked up an issue that I already have because I didn't recognize the cover. And in most places don't say cover A, cover B, that sort of thing. Well, Action Comics 1050 is bringing Superman back into the DCU because remember they killed the Justice League a little while ago, and they're wrapping up that storyline and bringing everybody back because I don't know. So Action Comics 1050 sees Superman coming back, and this is going to be a $7 book. $6 for the regular one, $7 for the cardstock. Now, if you had to guess, how many covers do you think there'd be without looking? If you know, don't say. I'm tired of 8+ covers. I have to pick through 10 copies just to find issue 2. Yep. And they do these little stunts, and they have some nice covers, but I don't give a shit. They're pinups. I'm not buying it for the cover most of the time. I'm buying it for the story. The only people that seem to be buying these covers up are speculators, and they never pan out because they make tons of these things. We got 10, a 5, 12. You guys are really far off, actually. Spoiler alert. There are 26 covers. 26. They have 24 of them here in the gallery. We'll take a look in a second. Dark Crisis is ending. Clark Kent's coming back. But they are not taking the son of Kal-El out. He's still Superman too. So he just has a really, really effeminate haircut that looks like he should be in a High School Musical as the wacky gay kid. 7,000. Well, you're close. So yeah, there are a couple of 1 in 75, 1 in 250, 1 in 500, and a 1 in 1050 variant by Jim Lee. A foil variant, a trading card cover, and a holiday card cover. This comes out the same month as their holiday books, which also all have variant covers. I have the new issue of DC Connect in front of me, and it has a listing of all the books with holiday covers. And it is absolutely ridiculous how many books have 3, 4 covers this month. They are so desperate to get sales up so they don't get shut down by Zaslav that they are looking desperate. They were a little desperate before. Now they're looking horrendously desperate. So let's see, we've got 7, 10, 12, 14 variant covers that are holiday specials. One of which is the Superman one. So there's 16 holiday variants. Not to mention, they are also re-releasing Tales from Earth 6, which are the Stan Lee and how Stan Lee would have written the DC characters. And he basically just wrote a description of what he would have done, and somebody else wrote the issues. And some of them were pretty good, but they're re-releasing that, and that's going to have 9 covers total. 8 variant covers in the main cover. And that one is $10. And this one is $6 each, and $7 for the cardstock variants. So they're really trying to milk these variant covers yet again in more shameless cash grab nature. Hey, Deckfish, how you doing, man? Because they're intellectually bankrupt and they know people are dumb and won't read stuff. So there you go. 26 variants for a random issue of Superman. All right, why is this running like crap? Yeah, my system's acting up. Bear with me a minute. What is happening? Why are you doing this to me, Internet? Hey, JMK, how you doing, man? Hey, Donald, how you doing? Up and down. Yeah, Simon, basically. Been a rough week. Oh, that's not good. Oh, well, I hope your day improves a little bit at least. Or at least I can distract you from what's ailing you. As I pump more caffeine into my system and get even more off target. I watched 10 minutes of the first episode, Pete, then I fell asleep. And I haven't gone back to it since. I just have no interest in that show. I got Monkey's Internet. Yeah, my computer's starting to go. And really can't afford to replace anything right now. So I just got to kind of deal with it. But no, I gave up on She-Hulk. I sat there for about 10 minutes, thought this is boring. Sort of It's just not my thing. I'm sure it's fine. People seem to like it or hate it. There's doesn't seem to be a lot of middle ground. It just didn't look like it was for me. I'm not the target audience. I think it would appeal more to people that like the Big Bang Theory, stuff like that. The twerking thing. I've seen enough clips that I just don't care. All right, let's go to. Oh yeah, let's talk about Netflix for a minute. So there was a little bit of controversy, as the foreigners say, around this show Dahmer because it got tagged in the LGBTQ section. Well, Netflix is removing that after backlash. I think they should protest more that this dude is jacked and Dahmer was not. It's just very normal looking. So Netflix has taken the LGBTQ tag off its true crime series Dahmer Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. That title is way too long. After outcry from viewers, the tag was one of several categories initially used to categorize the limited series about the serial killer from Ryan Murphy and Ian Brennan. Along with labels like dark, horror, and vintage crime, viewers noticed and raised objections online. Anyone else think it's pretty gross of Netflix to list Dahmer under LGBTQ, especially when the true crime tag would have worked? Some whiner said, it's a fair tag. He was gay, and he enjoyed the company of the younger people, which seems to be a thing that is going on with that community now. Oh yeah, it is shill o'clock. I'll get to it after this article. Thank you for reminding me, nobody. Yeah, I've actually seen that quote, Hate Camel. We want more representation. No, not that representation. They said, we want to be represented, just not like this. And I think that's pretty disgusting. You got to take the good with the bad. I mean, you bitch about cis hetero white men all the time and all the evils they've done. And we're not sitting around like, oh my God, don't say that. No, we just kind of ignore you. A well-viewed TikTok video, because that's a reliable source, Hollywood Reporter, expressed a similar sentiment, noting that the show is not the representation we're looking for. Well, I'm pretty sure farmers don't like Ed Gein, but he still wore people's faces like a mask while he did his kooky dance. Dahmer was gay, as were a number of his victims, but Netflix typically uses the LGBTQ tag for titles that reflect more rounded experiences in the community. No, positive ones. They use them only for positive ones. So it's not unfair to label this LGBTQ because he was part of that community. So I think they kind of pussed out, but you can't say anything mean anymore about certain groups. Because we're not bundles of sticks. Yeah, look, Dahmer was a monster, and I wouldn't want to be associated with him either. But you take the good with the bad. That's just the way it is. You don't have to like it. It's just part of life. There's a lot of bad people out there, and that's why I don't like labels on stuff like this. It's very lazy, I guess. So yeah, I was a little disappointed. I think it's manufactured outrage to try and get people to watch the show anyway. But I would have watched it. I like true crime. Just tell me that there's a Dahmer documentary or limited series. I'll fucking watch it. I never look at the tags. Who fucking looks at those? Like LGBTQ represent. I don't give a fuck. Is it entertaining? Watched Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. It was all right. Wasn't really my thing, but I can respect that it was done well. Dahmer was a fascinating dude. Absolutely. And a creepy one, too. I'm telling you, though, people in his apartment building, they knew. There's no way that you can cook a bunch of people like that and have a rotating cast of characters going through there and people not leaving and not know there's something wrong with that dude. But everybody's like, oh, he's such a quiet man. No. Why didn't anybody tell the truth? They're like, oh, that dude was scary as shit. But as serial killers go, yeah, very fascinating. And I like that the family of one of his victims sent a Christmas card to the guy that stabbed him That was really interesting. Something people don't usually talk about. As a ginger, I hate to be associated with Bryce Dallas Howard. That's understandable, Ginger. And look, I would have sex with Bryce Dallas Howard when she was thinner, but yeah, she seems like a real annoying cunt. Plus, gingers often have the association of being witches. And I don't care if you're a witch, you be a witch, be your witchy self. Just don't tell me I gotta care, because I don't. I don't care about much of anything. I'm tired of people telling me I have to care about stuff. The actor playing him has been pretty decent. Oh, nice. So you throw in one of the Will and Grace guys and make an odd couple scenario. Oh, dude, if they did a version of like Jeffrey Dahmer as like the gay roommate who was constantly murdering people, and his roommate was like some normal straight dude who was just kind of like the brother in Two and a Half Men, and they were constantly trying to hide bodies from the landlord. I'd watch the shit out of that. That'd be hilarious. Like a Three's Company thing, but with a Weekend at Bernie's twist. They enjoyed his barbecue long pig ribs. Yeah, I wouldn't take food from that dude. No. There was this weird dude that used to live next to me at my old townhouse. He lived in this rundown little house, and he was basically just a stoner, an old stoner. He was in his like 60s, and he claimed to have back problems, yet he was always stealing TVs out of the trash. And every now and then he'd come over and try and hit me up for food or something. And one time he came over and he's like, "Hey man, I got some extra spaghetti. You want some?" And I was like, "Nope, no, because you smell like cat pee. I'm pretty sure your house is cat pee, and I don't want to eat anything that came out of it." Walter Matthau is the co-star. Ooh, Walter Matthau as Jeffrey Dahmer. How about that? They're both serial killers, but the others don't know. Oh, that could be interesting too. See, they don't do shows like that because it's offensive. Suck it. Fun things are offensive sometimes. Oh, I forgot to bring up those covers. Let's take a look at some of the Superman covers, because some of them looked really good. Let's see if this is gonna work. I got distracted again. Oh yeah, it's shill o'clock. If you're enjoying the stream, hit the like button, share it on your social media, subscribe if you haven't. And if you're feeling generous, you can toss me a couple bucks at the Streamlabs link pinned at the top of the chat, and in the description. I don't know what it is, but I hate eating other people's homemade food. Yeah, if I don't know you, it gets kind of weird. This chick I was dating one time, we went over to her mom's house, and there was something crunchy in the lasagna, and she had a lot of cats, so I'm pretty sure it was cat litter. And one of my friends later said something about it too. And I was like, yeah, that's why I'm not going over there for dinner. All right, so here's some of the covers. We've got Special Needs Lex Luthor here. This one's pretty cool. That's in New York, though. I know where that is. That one's okay. I don't know why there's a giant bird here, though. Some gigantic pigeon. Yeah, I'm indifferent on that. It's well done, but her arm looks kind of weird. But it's well done. It just, it's, if it was a Krypton miniseries, it would make more sense. That's stupid. I hate this cutesy art style. This is the type of shit you used to see in like 70s issues of Playboy for their jokes. Then there's some fat chick hanging out with Mr. Mixelplick. Former Captain Strong. Now I think his name's that's Bebo. I forget what they changed his name to in the relaunch. And Crypto, of course. Jimmy, bunch kitschy shit. That's terrible. That's pop art shit. You'll see it. The home of middle-aged fake nerds, like the box wine moms. Again, I don't know what this has to do with anything. I thought the lasagna thing was just a cat stereotype. I don't think the cat ate any. I think it just walked through the food. This one's not bad. Playoff Action Comics #1. It's a little dark, though. They need to lighten this up. Should be brighter. Get the 4-color look of the original. That's pretty terribly done. This artist, I fucking hate that art style. I hate it. It's too cartoony and stupid looking. That's not Superman. That's Steel. Has nothing to do with Action Comics, unless he's in the book, which I didn't see anything about him being in the book. It's a cool picture, but it should be on an issue of Steel. Lois is not the main character. Superman is. Put Superman on the fucking cover. Hey, Jonathan Kent, before you got all stupid. And that should be Crypto. Here's some other ones. There's Metallo. Another Lex Luthor. Next Generation. General Zod. We didn't see that one or this one. That one's boring. Yeah. So there you go. Hope to get Cavill, Supes, and Black Adam. Oh, I hope so. He should be in Shazam too. I've heard they're in talks for that. Flash, maybe. I hope we get another Justice League movie, but I hope it's better. Because, like, I didn't hate the Justice League movie. The Snyder Cut I thought was done better, but the other version, if they had just cut out the swear words, it could have been a good PG-13 movie, and they could have got a younger audience. And I think they need to do that, as I've said many times. Thoughts on Deadpool 3? I don't know. It depends on how they do it, because Disney might try and water it down. It works better as its own thing when they're not trying to wedge it into a universe, but they'll want to wedge it into the MCU because they're going to want the name recognition. And I don't really know how they're going to do that with Hugh Jackman coming back as Wolverine, because he's pretty old now. And Logan really put a good bow tie on the Wolverine saga for them, so they should get a new actor to play Wolverine in the MCU. And I think what they're going to do is, because that movie doesn't come out until 2024, and I think they're going to have Deadpool show up in Secret Wars, and he's going to get moved over to the MCU. Snyder Cut was far inferior. Yeah, but it had a better storyline for Cyborg and Flash. It didn't treat them as silly, stupid characters. I thought both versions had pros and minuses, and you could really tell with the theatrical cut that it was done by two different directors. And I thought that Barry Allen came off as a pretty big doofus in that one. And it was kind of a waste of the character. So, yeah, I disagree with you a little on that, but Wolverine should be 5 foot tall. Yeah, the person they should have cast for Wolverine was Glenn Danzig, because he's a short dude, and he's all hairy, and he had the mutton chops for a long time. He would have been a much better casting. Why was Jimmy Olsen not capital B black? They don't have him as black in the comics yet, just in the TV shows and movies. Thanos versus Darkseid. Oh, I'd watch that. They've done something similar in one of the crossovers, but I don't remember it very well. Yeah, I'd agree with you. The Infinity Stones are total cop-out. They're just MacGuffins. Cyborg's story was the only improvement. He was way too overpowered. Yeah, I agree. But for what they were doing, it was fine. I don't like Cyborg as a character that much, which gets me a lot of hate from Titans fans. But yeah, I think he's an overpowered character to begin with. There's a lot of characters like that. Martian Manhunter, way too overpowered. But Martian Manhunter, they toned down a little bit, and they just don't use a lot of his powers anymore. He still has them, and they use them occasionally, but not like they used to. But Cyborg's an overpowered character to begin with. I think CW actors better at Barry Allen. Oh yeah, Ezra Miller's a shit actor. I want them to finally do a good DC universe, maybe adapt the Catamus storyline from Justice League Unlimited. Yeah, if they were smart, they'd probably just stick to cartoons and just make them all ages, like the Batman animated series and the Justice League series, because those were good. They had better writers on them. Ravens Hotter. Yeah, I like a lot of the Teen Titans characters. There's just a few of them I think are stupid. It's not Teen Titans Go Cyborg, then it ain't the real Cyborg. I've spoken. I haven't seen enough of Teen Titans Go. I've only seen like 2 episodes of it. It's not my thing. Problem solved. Yeah, they've tried that actually, and he's overpowered enough that he skirts that one. Really like the Question in JLA. Yeah, the Question's an interesting character. It was he's one of the characters that they acquired, like Blue Beetle and Captain Atom, because those were originally over at Charlton. And when Charlton went out of business, DC bought up all their characters. So they ended up with these effectively knockoff characters that they integrated. So that's how they got Blue Beetle and the Question. The Question was Charlton's answer to Batman. He looks great in a maxi skirt. Nice. The cartoons made them all 9-year-olds. 9 years old. What? Oh yeah, I'm like I said, I haven't seen enough of that show. I'm not a real big cartoon watcher, but I did like the Batman animated series, the Superman series, the Batman and Robin adventures, and Justice League. Yeah, you're funny, Frosted. Nice try though. Just confused myself. I confuse myself all the time, Pete. Don't feel bad. I do have to say I do not completely hate Doom Patrol. I haven't watched it yet. There's a lot of decent actors on there. And Brendan Fraser, especially, very underrated actor for his generation. Teen Titans are all children instead of teens. Oh, okay. Oh, that's the one with the goofy art. Okay, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, I've seen like half an episode of that. My nephew watched it, and I was like, not for me. And I walked out of the room. It looked like dick and fart jokes. Alan Moore used the Charlton characters to make Watchmen. He tried to, but they had made him change all the names. But yeah, Rorschach was supposed to be the Question, and Ozymandias was supposed to be somebody else. Night Owl was supposed to be Blue Beetle. That's why the Night Owl's ship looks so much like Blue Beetle's ship. Hey, Grisella. Oh, that's cool, man. Oh, have a good night. Thank you, Keldrick, for the donation. The problem with OP characters is they don't write them the same way good Superman writers write Superman. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Unfortunately, that is a very, very common problem. Well, have a good one, Griselle. Have fun at work. I always like the Blue Beetle. Yeah, I like Ted Cord as the Blue Beetle. The new one, I don't really care about. And they're introducing a new yellow beetle. And that is going to be some arch nemesis for the other Blue Beetle, not Ted Cord, the other guy whose name escapes me. I keep wanting to call him Robbie Reyes, and that's the Ghost Rider from Marvel, so that's not right. I know, okay, I thought that was weird too, but hey, teach their own. Yeah, if you want Jamie Reyes, thank you. Can't think it was just blanking. He's an okay character, but he's another one that's a little overpowered. And I think that it was an unnecessary character to add in. They should have just given him a different mantle or name, because the costume's completely different. His power set's different. He should have had his own name and been his own character. And I think that adding the Blue Beetle title onto him was an injustice to the character, because he is a good enough character that he can stand on his own. They just screwed him out of it by trying to do another hand-me-down. So they're having an Asian villainous beetle. No, it's a white girl. Sorry, Cannibal. Oh, they can't say Bumblebee because they already have a Bumblebee character in DC. So they can't use that one. And that's a black woman, so they're not about to do that. All right, let's jump over, talk some games. So Warhammer has a new one called Warhammer Underworld's Gnarlwood coming out. New core set. I know we have some board gamers and war gamers out there. Games Workshop revealed Warhammer Underworld's Gnarlwood, a new core set, which are coming soon to pre-order. New season of Warhammer Underworlds is headed to Gur? No. Where warbands battle it out in root caverns underneath a man-eating jungle. The two warbands showcased in this set are the Gnarl Spirit Pack, a group of berserker pariahs led by Sarakar Blackwing, and the Sons of Velmorn, undead royalty led by King Velmorn. Box set comes with these two warbands plus 4 rival decks that are ready to play right out of the box. Core set also contains all the boards, rules, dice, cards, counters needed to play. They also unleashed Vanguard Disciples of Tzeentch and Chaos Battle Tome Disciples of Tzeentch for Warhammer Age of Sigmar under the pre-orders. Let's take a look at the images for this game, though, because it looked like it might be kind of cool. If they'll load up. Now, let me make the screen a little bit bigger. So there's one of the guys. He's reaching out for a booby. He's like, tune into Tokyo. Some big dude with a hammer. That's a pretty cool looking mini, actually. That guy looks like a neighbor I used to have. Modern feminist. There's some undead guys. They look pretty cool. I wish I could paint like this, because otherwise they always look pretty disappointing when I paint them. But like, this dude looks badass. When I paint him, it's like, wow, were you drunk when you did that? That one looks cool too. There's the rule book. It's exciting. So that looked pretty cool. Figures are cool, but so overpriced. They always are. It's Games Workshop. Oh, they brought back the squats? What do you mean they changed the name? Oh, of course she was driven to it by a man assassin. You're probably not wrong, Sith. Thought Blue Beetle was originally before Charlton acquired him. Yeah, there was a different Blue Beetle. I forget his name. But when Charlton picked up the character, because the company that made that Blue Beetle was one of the founders of Charlton, if I remember correctly. And they just kind of worked him in because he was more of like a medieval knight type character. Oh, Underworlds is pretty accessible for the layman. Oh, that's cool. Leagues of Votan. Nope, don't like that name. They're squats. I used to play a squat army back in, what, 2nd edition? They were pretty cool. So, yeah, the Warhammer set looked pretty cool, so I thought I'd share that. All right, let's laugh at Marvel some more. So this comes from Cosmic Book News. Marvel in big trouble as Blade is a big mess. Tuesday saw the surprising news that Blade had lost its director, Bassam Tariq, with less than 2 months to go until filming was supposed to start in Atlanta. Marvel released a statement offering shifts in our production schedule are to blame, but insiders offering a completely different story. According to Jeff Snyder, who has written for the trades and dropped scoops before, Snyder thinks Ryan Gosling could be Doctor Doom, by the way. It sounds like Blade and Marvel are in big trouble. Snyder actually first tweeted the news about Blade losing its director prior to the Hollywood Reporter exclusively announcing the news and offering more details. According to Snyder, star and multiple Oscar winner Mahershala Ali is very frustrated with the process. He should be. First of all, he's an Oscar winner, and this is supposed to be a big breakout role for him. They've really been hyping him, and it's a big deal for him. It's also said the script is only 90 pages, which means the film presently is only 90 minutes long. As with screenwriting, a written page is typically the equivalent of 1 minute of footage. Blade is also said to feature 2 lackluster action scenes, which is mind-blowing to think of compared to the original films, and shows how incompetent Feige's Marvel team is when it comes to comic book adaptations, and supports the idea that Feige's present MCU team is unknowledgeable when it comes to the source material and doesn't care anything about the comics. Well, I could have told him that. That's why they're adapting like Girl Thor and all these other rah-rah girl power crap. Hey, Lester, how's it going? Mahershala? Yeah, I'm going to fuck that up. Hey, Camel, sorry, dude. Thanks for trying, though. That Wesley Snipes playing Blade. Yeah, unfortunately, he's too old now, but I liked him as Blade. I thought he did a great job. It's a Blade movie that isn't rated R. It's already screwed. Yep. The problem is they're trying to make everything PG-13, and sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. DC would do a really good thing by going more toward the PG route. With a horror character that hunts vampires, you have to go R. I'm sorry. And this shit should be being released at Halloween or in October. Chicken Marsala? Yeah. Welcome back, Lesser. Hey, Beth. Hey, JMK. I don't remember who I said hi to, so I'm just saying hi to people now. It's also claimed that the head of Marvel, Kevin Feige, is spread too thin, which doesn't come as a surprise, as Phase 4 has been a huge bust, which includes Marvel failing to deliver for Disney+. Yeah, their Disney Plus stuff has been mostly trash and very political and boring. Snyder also said Beau DeMayo, who is known for writing The Witcher and Moon Knight, is coming on board to fix the script. Ooh, that's going to be a mess. Just let him write a new script. Moon Knight was okay, but he was barely ever in costume, and it wasn't really Moon Knight. It was a character study piece. Should have been an action show. With less than 2 months to go until filming and with Blade losing its director, the status of the film is unclear, as either Marvel has to announce a new director right away in order to start filming in November, or push production back and possibly even the release date. As things stand, it's supposed to be November 3rd, 2023. And they're going to need a lot of time to do like special effects and stuff like that. If they don't, they're going to screw it up and the effects will look like She-Hulk. So it wouldn't surprise me if this one's going to suck donkey cock, but you know, a lot of the Marvel stuff has been. It's been really, really bad. She-Hulk's been largely a bust with fans. And Falcon Winter Soldier was at best mediocre. And at worst, it was very ham-fistedly political. And they're going to have a hard time really winning people over because of this stuff. Yeah, that's the best praise I've been hearing, Beth, is it was okay. Nobody's saying it, oh, it was great, except for the people that you would expect to, the shills. I haven't seen Moon Knight, but I've seen both seasons of The Witcher, and it's nothing to hang your hat on. Yeah, I haven't seen The Witcher. I've seen like half of an episode, I think. I saw the really old one from Poland, and it was like watching Buffy. It was really bad. It was fun that way, but I didn't know what was going on half the time. And I've never played the video games, so. All right, let's talk about something else cool coming up. More board game news because I like this one. Terraforming Mars, the dice game. Stronghold Games has announced plans to produce Terraforming Mars, the dice game, set to release next summer. Like its namesake, Terraforming Mars, the dice game challenges players to oversee the development of a colony on the planet Mars. Each turn, players choose to either produce resources by rolling dice or use the resources they've collected to advance the development of the planet and play cards. When Mars has been sufficiently terraformed, the game ends and the player with the most points wins the game. That's usually how games are played. Compared to the original, the dice game is designed for quicker paced play and features simpler mechanics to make it more accessible to new players and offer less downtime. Now, I've played this game quite a few times with a buddy of mine, and he's really good at it. He beats me most of the time. I don't care. I think I've won that game twice out of the dozens or two that we've played. And I like the game. It's fun. It's not that slow. The more players you have, the slower it goes. Then it gets boring. If you're going to play with more than 2 people or 3, if that third player is a newbie, it's going to take forever. But if you have people that are regular board gamers, they can move along pretty quickly. Even if you're like somebody's trying to catch up and figure out what's going on, like, all right, well, how do I do this? It still goes pretty quick. This game comes with 1 game board, 60 custom dice, 157 cards, 83 tiles, and 6 plastic cubes. For 1 to 4 players, manufacturer price is $50. 45 minutes is actually pretty quick. I think our games usually go about 2 or 3 hours, but we goof off a lot. Companies raising funding to produce the game through a Kickstarter campaign that's so far got 89 grand. I don't know if it's still going. Yeah, this is from a couple days ago. So I thought this looked really cool. I like Terraforming Mars. Like I said, I've played all the expansions for it. It's a really, really fun game. And I hope this is good too. Because if they found a way to speed it up a little bit, that'll bring a lot of new people in. What's going on? Falcon Winter Soldier, great characters. Pairing them up was a good idea, but the political shit ruined it. Absolutely, it did. And I'm sorry, Sam Wilson is better as the Falcon. He's a more interesting character. Making him Captain America is stupid. They only did it because they wanted a black guy to be Captain America. It's stupid. Buffy's not bad. I liked Buffy. I don't think I'll watch it again, but I had fun watching it. There were some really good episodes of it. This is a true Submariner. Is he going to be from Atlantis? Yes, that is correct. He is not going to be from Atlantis. Yeah, I'm shocked too, Pete. Namor is going to be Namor in name only, and he is going to be from this place I can't pronounce. It's loosely based on a real place in South America that the conspiracy theory is they were escapees from Atlantis when Atlantis sank. So that's what they're going for, but they're going to have him wearing a bunch of like Mayan headgear and feathers and nose piercings. It's going to look really stupid. Walker did nothing wrong in that show. His actions were a lot more justifiable in that show than they were in the comics. Because in the comics, he didn't seem to mind putting innocent people in danger. And that's what they got wrong in the show is Walker's instability was very, very downplayed in the show as opposed to what it was in the comics. Because that dude had a total screw loose in the comics. Buffy was great. Used to watch it with my dad. Yeah, nobody would watch it with me. I watched all 7 seasons, I think it was. Whatever. I watched the whole show, and it had a little bit of weak episodes here and there, but overall, it was fine. I didn't have a problem with it. How's it even the character that's stupid? Yeah, well, this is the MCU. This is the direction they're going. They didn't what I think Namor is technically supposed to be Asian or half Asian, but they didn't. They label him as a white guy, and they didn't want a white guy. That ginger chick is still cute. I never found her that attractive. Like I'd have had sex with Willow, but never found her all that hot. She had the nerd girl cuteness, but there's only so much of that I can put up with. Dark Willow was hotter. Yes, I agree with that. Captain Inner City America. Jesus. Wow. All right, let's talk Star Trek. I know there's probably some Next Generation fans out there that are going to be excited to hear this news from Giant Freaking Robot. Star Trek 4 recasting Next Generation crew for a reboot. Yay, reboots. How could that possibly go wrong? Star Trek 4 will feature an appearance by the cast of the Next Generation, but with new actors starring in the iconic roles of the Enterprise D. She's going to be a black woman. Redheads, right out. Nope. He's going to be the gay. He's going to be a woman with a beard. And she's going to continue to be a hoe. It will act essentially as a backdoor pilot for their own reboot movie. Oh, they're going to backdoor them, all right. This is a pretty big risk for Paramount Pictures in an attempt to recast one of the most beloved starship crews in all of science fiction history, but in many ways it makes sense. I don't think this makes any damn sense. Star Trek 4 takes place in the much debated Kelvin timeline, which is to say an alternative universe in which Chris Pine is James T. Kirk, blah, 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 shitty crew. Okay, I have a couple problems with this. One, the ships look ridiculously overcomplicated. If you're going to cast new actors, just cast new actors, and then just never address it. They don't need to change the timeline just to add a new character or a new actor in. That's stupid. Movies have done this for decades. Look at James Bond. He's still James Bond. Looks a lot different between Sean Connery and Roger Moore. They never talk about it. You know why? It doesn't fucking matter. They are obsessed with this. Okay, once this actor leaves, we can never do that again. No, just recast the actor and have the same cheesy looking sets. Explain why they look like balsa wood painted. Be like, oh, it's this new high-tech metal we came up with. But it looks like wood. Yes, it does, but it's stronger than steel. Problem solved. Instead, they obsess over these trivialities, and then they've got the rights issues. Thankfully, they've sorted the rights stuff out, so it's all back at Paramount. And now they're continuing on with the same shit that wasn't that popular and was more of an action movie than a Star Trek movie. What this means is Paramount Pictures executives have enough evidence that recasting is not enough of a fan turnoff that Star Trek 4 cannot pull the same trick with Next Generation crew. The problem is that you're going to make it into another action movie and it's going to be boring and stupid. I mean, the Into Darkness was a terrible film. I'm sorry. Leslie's going to be recast as a heterosexual. Oh, with any luck, that'd be the only thing they could do to make it better. Hollywood's become creatively crippled. I have a thought on that, actually. I was talking about this with a buddy of mine, who, by the way, is an ardent lefty and hates all of my politics and 90% of the things I say. Somehow we're still friends after 20-some years. We decided that a lot of the stuff going on now and why they're doing these things, the creative bankruptcy that we're seeing, is because younger people don't know any history. They haven't seen the original movies. They haven't seen the original series. So they don't care if you're remaking a movie. They've never seen a movie like Taxi Driver. That's why Joker was popular with them. So since they don't know older stuff, they don't care. It's all new to them. So you can water it down all you want. And to them, this is original. This is brand new because they've never seen the better version of it. Collect next-gen DVDs now before they vanish in the memory hole. That's what's going to happen. That's what happens every time they reboot this stuff. The old stuff gets pushed back because now they can make more money off the new stuff. Disney's doing this a lot. They vault stuff all the time. But you saw it with the Star Wars stuff. They started pushing Rey and Kylo Ren and the new troopers. All that stuff was getting promoted. And those were the only toys you could find for a while. They didn't sell very well, but that's what they were pushing because they made more money off them. They didn't have to pay residuals to George Lucas. That's why you're seeing like Peter Parker being downplayed and Miles Morales being played up, because they're worried that Steve Ditko and Stan Lee's families will want a cut of royalties. So they're trying to get away from that. That's why they tried to replace Superman recently, because they don't want to pay royalties to the original creators and their families. So now, with younger people being stupid and not knowing the past and not being exposed to older stuff because it's problematic, they don't know any of this stuff. They don't know the history of the series. They don't know quality writing of the science fiction concepts. And if you don't see it when you're younger, you look at it now as an adult when you're like, or 17, 18 years old, college age, and you look at Star Trek, the original series, you could be like, look, that's hokey as shit, because the special effects were garbage. And kids are spoiled by the special effects, so they have no interest. Even if they would like the show for the story, it doesn't matter, because they're going to judge it on the superficial aspects only and then not give it a chance. So they just gloss over it. So they don't know Edge of Tomorrow or anything. They don't know Blake 7. They don't know Doctor Who. They only know the newest stuff put in front of them. Stunning Brave, now retro and lame. Yep. A bookshelf worth of DVDs and a whole bunch of old PC video games. Yeah. Yeah, going digital. If you don't have it backed up on a flash drive, it's going to get deleted. Classic. Yeah, right, Viking. I'm with you 100%. My dad was a huge sci-fi nerd. I've seen everything from the Captain Video serial all the way through the classic Doctor Who stuff. We used to go see movies all the time because that's what we could afford, and rentals, things like that. But I saw a bunch of that old stuff, and I am incredibly grateful for that, because there's so many fun adventure stories I got to see as a kid that I wouldn't have watched any other way. I got to see, Crimson Ghost and the Black Hawk serials, and I got to see all the old time black and white movies, the original Star Trek series, and he let me watch Next Generation, which a lot of my friends weren't allowed to watch when that came out. And he encouraged me to watch sci-fi because he liked it. So he would watch what was on then, and I would get to watch it then. And we got to go see a bunch of really cool movies like Time Runner and Time Bandits and Blue Thunder, which had boobies in it. My mom didn't like that, but we got to see all that cool stuff. And now these kids, they just kind of ignore what their parents are doing, and they're shocked by anything like that. Oh, thank you, Frosted Glass. I'd completely embrace the memes. Sam Jackson as Picard, Neil deGrasse Tyson as Data, and Hannah Gadsby as the Lady Doctor. The prime directive is to diversify the galaxy. Coming soon, Star Trek: The Next Melanation. Well, let's not give them any ideas, huh? And thank you, Frosted. Hey, Joby, how you doing? I'm watching a video I recorded a few years ago while listening to very retro music, and of course you. Oh, nice. My dad was the same way, Jack. Very grateful. Doing the same with my nephew. Good. Yeah, I tried doing that with my nephew. He had no interest. It was Power Rangers, and that was about as good as it got. He finally got into Dungeons and Dragons with 3.5 briefly, and then he's playing 5th edition now. But unfortunately, he's a little bit of a lefty. More Star Wars than Trek, but a couple of the TOS movies are pretty good. Yeah, thankfully, we didn't have cable for a long time, so we didn't watch broadcast TV or videos. So we watched whatever we could, and that meant like Ultraman, because that was on broadcast TV. The original Shazam live action, Secrets of Isis, $6 Million Man, Buck Rogers, Knight Rider, all that 70s and 80s stuff, because we watched it on repeats. The Batman original series, the Green Hornet show, the Herculoids. You just watched what was on, and I think that really benefited me in a lot of ways. Plus, a lot of people from the 60s and 70s, the writers that would write it for like Star Trek, they were writing like Land of the Lost and Dyna Woman and Electra Girl. You'd see the same names popping up, and it was pretty impressive. As long as Wesley gets spaced up. Yeah, right. Do understand how the fans feel about their intellectual property being destroyed. Yeah, see, and that's the thing is they're taking something that's very beloved and they're shitting all over it and changing it entirely. That's dumb. That's just dumb from a business standpoint. You're not broadening the base then. You're just shitting on your fan base and alienating them. But they don't understand that because most young writers are arrogant and they have no life experience and they also have no cultural schema to draw from. So they're trying to write stories they think are innovative, but they're really just hackneyed and lazy. Transformers Prime and Transformers Robots in Disguise, newer cartoons that are actually pretty good. Oh, I'll try and check those out. I like the Transformers. Never got into them too much. Read the comics more than anything else, but that show conflicted with something I was watching, so never got to really see too much of it. You know, the Secrets of ISIS, FBI's from no, the superhero lady, not the others. When we get stories, not lectures, it's been a while, yeah. Well, even like they had the little morals at the end of like GI Joe and Masters of the Universe, but they were like those weren't really lectures. They were more like the lessons at the end of a fable. And I didn't have a problem with that. They're a little hokey and cheesy, but then it was a little more educational, and they could kind of frame it that way. It's not just a toy commercial. Yes, it is. You shut your whore mouth, Frosted. Ezra Miller is Wesley. The lack of boundaries. Yeah, D&D lets you explore things in a lot of ways that other things don't, and it's much more open. Unfortunately, they're trying to drive that into the ground now, and this new one D&D is going to be garbage. Wesley was a special needs person, but I agree, Rod. Mama Keeve. Oh, well, good to know. Making this for modern audience is the first red flag they're about to ruin an IP. Absolutely. My daughter hasn't signed back into her account yet. It happens. All right, let's look at the next one. And this is a rumor that's been going around for a while. Comic Book Resources is just now starting to cover it. This is from a few days ago. DC Comics potential licensing its characters is revolutionary for comics. No, it's not. It's happened many times in the past. DC Comics is one of many properties owned by the multimedia conglomerate now known as Warner Brothers Discovery. The potential for the characters of the DCU exists across movies, TV shows, blah, 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 blah. They're talking about licensing the comics out. Licensing out DC's heroes for use in other publishers' works opens the door wide to get even more readers flocking to DC Comics. No, it doesn't. What they're going to do is they're going to shut down DC and license the characters en masse to like most likely Image, somebody over there, either Robert Kirkman, God forbid, or Todd McFarlane, or another independent conglomerate that comes up with a big pile of cash. They're doing a bunch of crossovers. They're doing Batman Spawn, and they're supposed to reprint the Batman Judge Dredd stuff, but they're doing a new Batman Spawn as well as a reprint of the older ones. And a lot of that is because DC's books have been really bad. It turns out that they were letting books fail, that they wouldn't cancel ones that weren't doing well, according to the reports we talked about previously. So it looks like they were just like, well, this is a woke book. We got to get the message out. It doesn't matter how bad it sells. And Zaslav's people were like, why are you doing this? You need to turn a profit. So it looks like they're probably going to get shut down, probably within the next year. I did not see that, Simon, but I bet it was funny. Who's flocking to DC Comics? Nobody. They're making everybody gay. I mean, it won't be a problem if these were new characters, but you can't just suddenly turn people gay. That's conversion therapy. There was a Judge Dredd versus Predator series. Yeah, there was a Tarzan one too. That, as I recall, was pretty good. They've done a lot of Predator stuff. Dark Horse did a lot of it back in late 90s, early 2000s. The Batman Predator one was pretty good. Archie versus Predator was shockingly fun as well. So they're trying to make it sound like they're going to license the characters out at the same time still publishing DC Comics. I don't think that's going to happen. I think what you're going to see is they're going to license out the different universes. So the DC universe will go to one publisher, the Charlton characters will go to another, the Wildstorm characters to yet another, and the Fawcett characters to another. I think that's what's going to happen with this, and they'll have open licenses for some of the characters. So if you want to do a Batman book, you could do your Batman book over here, and somebody else could do a Robin book. That's most likely what's going to happen. It depends on the terms of the contract, but you get the general idea of what I'm saying. So this code for this is the only way we see to make DC profitable. I think that's what it is they're not that interested in something that's not making a lot of money. The movies make a lot of money. The toys make a lot of money. The comics, they really don't make much because they've turned it into killing their own audience, basically. Sad but needed news. Yeah, unfortunately, that's the likely scenario, and it will probably be within the next year. If McFarlane takes it over, that's probably the best case scenario. If Robert Kirkman does it, it's going to be boring as shit, and we'll get more of the same. Because he takes forever to get anywhere in his stories. It's really annoying. Now, in lawsuit news from the Hollywood Reporter, Disney loses bid to dismiss Muppet Babies reboot copyright suit. This is pretty interesting. It's not a guaranteed thing or anything, but this lawsuit gets to go forward. Muppet Babies, reboot of the 1984 animated series of the same name, premiered in 2018 with a slight twist. The pattern of Nanny's socks change every episode. Yeah, she changes her socks. The monster. That variation spawned a copyright infringement lawsuit against Disney from Jeffrey Scott, a screenwriter of the original series that was dismissed due to unusual circumstances surrounding his personal bankruptcy. After some legal maneuvering by Scott in bankruptcy court to revive his case, a federal judge on Monday rebuffed Disney's bid to dismiss the lawsuit. U.S. District Judge Stanley Bloomfeld found that Disney may have copied elements of the show from the original Muppet Babies production Bible that Scott created in the 80s. The order keeps in line with recent mandates from a federal appeals court to not prematurely dismiss copyright cases at the pleading stage. Now, he's probably not going to win, but it's interesting that they are allowing this to proceed. Scott in 2020 sued Disney, but the case didn't get far. It turned out that his bankruptcy estate owned the production Bible central to his claims. Without ownership, he had no standing to sue. After reopening his 1985 and 2003 bankruptcy proceedings to include copyright claims in the estate, Scott refiled the lawsuit with trustee Howard Ehrenberg representing him. After Disney moved to dismiss the case, Blumfeld found that Scott sufficiently alleged that some non-trivial elements in his production Bible and script are protectable, but he hadn't adequately argued the disputed works are substantially similar. This time around, Blumfeld concluded that Scott met the standard to advance his copyright claims. He pointed to numerous examples of content in the Muppet Babies reboot that Disney allegedly copied from Scott's production Bible and scripts. For example, plaintiff plausibly alleges that Disney, throughout the reboot, used the same nanny character with her distinctive colored socks, who is only ever seen from the legs down, copied by Scott in his production Bible and scripts. Plaintiffs also plausibly allege substantially similarities between specific scripts written by Scott and specific reboot episodes. For example, they allege that the reboot episode, You Ought to Be in Pictures, copies Scott's The Muppet Museum of Art script, as well as involves characters viewing impressionist artwork shown in photorealistic images, including Rodin's The Thinker and paintings by Vincent van Gogh and a bunch of other people nobody gives a shit about right now. The combination of so many specific elements in a short children's program, particularly when the allegedly infringing work presents a very similar context to a reboot of the original series that Scott helped develop, may constitute infringement. Now, depending on what his contract was when he first worked on Muppet Babies, because remember it was owned by Jim Henson at the time, he might have a real case here, but he probably doesn't. He probably signed all his rights away. Well, he bends him over prison style. Yeah, we all do. Disney fucking sucks. So, like I said, they'll probably settle this out of court. He'll get a payout. But Disney does this sort of shit a lot. Remember, we saw them not paying royalties on people's stuff. At least that was the allegation from like Alan Dean Foster and several others, because they think once they buy something, they don't have to honor the contracts that come with the purchase. It's both bad will from everyone now and doesn't seem a limited budget to bury everyone in course. So now is the best time for a legal case. Absolutely, now is the best time for a legal case. Yeah, they're still not paying the Star Wars authors. That's what I figured. It's disgusting. They're acting like children, but they're used to getting their way because they could just bury people in paperwork in court. And since they have had some real flops lately, and a lot of this Marvel stuff isn't doing that great, and their numbers at Disney Plus haven't been great. Their stock's been getting a bit hit. They're not doing as well financially as they used to be. So it's getting harder and harder for them to just destroy people in court like they used to. So if you're going to sue Disney, now's the time to do it. But they've had a lot of times where people have these stories. I don't know how true they are. That don't sue me, Disney, because I don't have any money. Where people would go and present them an idea and they'd say, no, we don't like that idea. And then a year later, something very shockingly similar will come out. So they have a hit track record of doing shit like that. They re-release those books they owe royalties on at new printings. Oh, that's fucking dirty. Yeah, screw them. The mouse, I don't know when they turned into like the Great Satan, but they've probably always been like that. We just never heard about it too much. But the last 20 years or so, they've been really bad. Their reputation sucks. I would never work for them or pitch them ideas. So, yeah, I don't know what the hell they're doing. Oh, we are at that point in the show where I do some shameless shilling. So I want to thank you for watching the show. Please hit the like button if you're enjoying it. Subscribe if you haven't, and hit that bell for notifications. And if you're feeling generous, you can toss me a couple bucks at the Streamlabs link going through your chat. It's pinned at the top of your chat, thanks to Hey Camel, and it's in the description. So that helps the show keep going. Amazon does the same thing. They'll help new investors with financing. Then a year later, Amazon basically releases a suspiciously similar product. That doesn't surprise me at all. Oh, I work at Disneyland. Oh, yeah, well, I've heard they treat people okay, but I don't know. I don't think I'd work there. That's just me though. I've heard there's some really cool people that work there. I've known people that used to work at Disney, the parks, but I don't think I could do it. Their reputation's just that they don't seem like very nice people. None of this would have happened under Walt, because he'd have been like, "Get your fucking commie ass out of here," because he was a patriot at least. All right, let's talk about something a little bit more on the broadcast side of things, because a lot of what people like me do on here is we talk about pop culture, I review stuff, and there's a lot of people that do that, and so most channels are much bigger than me. So every now and then something pops up about one of those people that does end up becoming newsworthy, and I generally don't like to bash on other people, but in this case I'm going to make an exception. Hey, Donald. Yeah, recasting TNG is stupid. I don't like it. Like, just do something else with a different crew. Make something new. So every now and then, like I said, one of the YouTubers or Twitch streamers or somebody like that makes the news, and it's important that occasionally we cover that. I don't like doing that because There's a lot of different obscure, arcane, nebulous rules around that they have. Oh, I understand, Simon. Don't worry about it. Don't ever feel obligated. Like you better than Gary from Nerdrotic. Slight offense to Gary, but not really. Um, yeah, I think he's a little hyperbolic sometimes, and his room is distracting to me because I always look at the toys and I'm like, oh, I used to have one of those. Oh, that one's cool. And then I zone out. I have no idea what he's talking about after like 5 minutes. So because I'm looking at the toys and I'm like, what's fucking going on? Why is this guy shouting at me? Nothing against the guys, not my thing. I don't actually watch very much of the commentary community on the nerd stuff. I just read the news. So their contract, if you pitch them, they can turn around and sue them. You can't turn around and sue them if the idea happens. Yeah, that's in most contracts. But they're notorious for that sort of behavior. A lot of other places aren't. Yeah, I get distracted by shiny things. Yeah, nobody wants to go against Disney because it'll destroy their careers and they'll get buried in paperwork. So let's talk about this guy. And this is going to be a pretty rough topic because it's pretty gross. Delray Beach man charged by federal grand jury. Now, this had been talked about on Twitter if you follow comics Twitter or board game Twitter, because this guy's a board game. So let's get into it. A federal grand jury has charged Delray Beach man with failing to register as a sexual offender and possessing illegal child imagery. The United States Department of Justice made the announcement in this advisory. The South Florida grand jury has charged 41-year-old Delray Beach man with possessing CP and failing to properly register as a sex offender. Nicholas Duraway appeared in West Palm Beach federal court in his arraignment. According to the indictment, an earlier filed criminal complaint affidavit in January 2022, Google alerted the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children that one of its users had uploaded CP to an account. Google alerted them. That means he probably put it on his YouTube channel. Probably unlisted or privated. An investigation into this cyber tip led law enforcement officers to Daraway's home, where they executed a search warrant and found thousands of images and videos of CP, say the charging documents. In 2004, Daraway was convicted in the Southern District of Florida for an offense that required him to comply with the ongoing requirements of the federal sex offender registry law. According to the allegations, Daraway used an online alias, Nick Menachan, until failed to update his sex offender registry information that is with the associated email address. The name Nick Menachan is linked to the CP uploads that led to the January 2022 cyber tip. Now, before we go any further, this is not the first time somebody's done that. A comic book writer named Gerard Jones did that, and he's still in jail. And he's written a lot of comics. If you read the Ultraverse books back in the old days, in the 90s, he wrote some of those. He also wrote some really good books on the history of comics. And he uploaded CP to YouTube. That was in the court filings. This is not new stuff. Juan Antonio Gonzalez, U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida, blah, 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 a bunch of other people announced the charges. FBI Miami and USMS investigated the case with assistance from the Delray Beach Police Department. The case was brought before as part of the Project Safe Childhood, a nationwide initiative launched in May 2006 by the Department of Justice to combat child exploitation. So I thought maybe this is bullshit because this is Boca News. So we go over here to the Department of Justice website, and here it is again. It's basically the exact same thing. An indictment contains allegations, and defendants are innocent until proven guilty. But if Google's tattling on you, yeah, this guy was part of a larger group of people that post on YouTube, and he has since been taken down. His catalog of stuff has been removed from, like, what's the name of the website he was working for? They don't last very long in prison. Yeah, if they find out he was a chomo, yeah, he's not going to do very well in there. Come on, load. Yeah, I actually hadn't heard about this, but John Della Rose did a video about it, and somebody in my Twitter timeline happened to mention it. And I went and looked it up, and holy shit, he wasn't kidding. This guy's got a history, so he was supposed to be on the offender registry for something that I'm not getting into because I did look it up, and it was pretty gross. It wasn't public urination, from what I could tell. So yeah, he had a board game channel that's out there, and if my fucking internet would work, I would probably be able to pull this up. Yeah, here we go. All right, let me pull this back up. So this piece of shit did work over, or he was a contributor, from what I could tell, over at the Dice Tower. So here's his page. His picture's been taken down as well, and they basically scrubbed him from the site. But he did have a GoFundMe because he got robbed at one point. He raised $450. It even says here he's an occasional board game video producer and an LGBTQ goofball. I don't know what that means, but here we are. And he was trying to raise some money because, he got robbed. Or shit was stolen from him. So, yeah, there you go. There's this info. But this picture make him a little older, and it does match up with the mugshot that was seen. John Della Rose. I'll try and find the video real quick. He's a comic creator. He's, I think, Comicsgate now. I don't fucking know. I can't keep track of who's on what teams anymore because I don't fucking follow those people. Too much drama. Rose. Let me remember how to spell his name. Come on. This is exciting shit right here. We're doing it live. Fuck it. We're doing it live. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, here is the link to his video on it. It's got a little bit more detail. So he has some personal vendetta against Dice Tower. I think he got banned from a convention or something that they did. Yeah, this is... I haven't seen anything from the board game people about this. And he did do a lot. He has a YouTube channel that is still up. They took him down, from what I could tell, on the where he was contributing, but his own personal page is still up. And he did a lot of board game reviews and how to play, stuff like that, like you would usually see with board game stuff. So yeah, that's something to be aware of. There's some real degeneracy going on out there. His voice is too reminiscent of Ben Shapiro. Can't watch him for too long, right? Have a good one, Kyle. Oh, thank you, Oki. Thank you, Okie Native. Here's less than a gallon of gas, 3/4 of a bag of rice, or 2 packs of ramen. If you're lucky, maybe a pack of hot dogs. Inflation is good for the economy, by the way. Yeah, I heard that. I heard it from the White House. Yeah, they also told me to get vaccinated so I can survive the tornado or the hurricane or whatever. What fucking crazy. But thank you for that. And I will be buying some ramen with that. Jack, you have a board game channel? I do indeed. Did you not know that? Are you fucking with me, Hazmat? I have an unboxing channel for more aimed at collectors. I don't do how to plays. I just do like what pieces are supposed to be there. Because I'm a completionist and it drives me nuts when I don't know what components are supposed to be there and what's missing. So there's the channel link if you don't have it. Yes, I do also have laundry videos, which new ones will be going up in October. I already scheduled all of October. So if you want to watch my laundry or things that I caught on my trail cam, I can't say that, Assassin, because it hit me for medical misinformation, but I think it's funny. Not showing you how to play the games. Yeah, I don't call them how to play. I don't understand that. Like, it says what's inside. That's the name of the show. Not how to play. It's what's inside. You're literally seeing what is inside the box. It escapes me how nobody gets that. It drives me nuts. I know I've seen you correct people, Oki, and it's got to be annoying as an outsider. But from the creative end, I'm just like, what do I need to say here? Well, like I'm telling you what you're supposed to have in the box. It does kind of annoy me. Do you do how-to laundry videos? Well, you can kind of just mimic what I'm doing. I've never heard of that one, Simon. Are there instructions in the box? Sometimes. Sometimes there's not. Much like the Dogman card game that I got. Had no instructions in it. And the Buffy collectible card game, the instructions were online. That website doesn't exist anymore. Bigfoot costume walk in front of your trail cam. Sometimes I thought about that actually. But no, I'm way too lazy for that. I forget that I have it out there sometimes, and then I'll go outside and be like, what's that red light? It's the night vision. Find the card games oddly soothing. No talking, just showing the cards. Yeah, I like doing those. I think they're fun. And I like to, like I said, as a board game fan, I want to know what parts are supposed to be in there and what components I might be missing. And card games are the fucking worst at that because if you buy a bunch of used collections or something, you got all these starter decks that have been messed with. So if you want to start with just the base deck, you need to know what cards are supposed to be in there. Come on, man, what's in the box? Yeah, Gwyneth Paltrow's head. All right. And you will get to see my arms in the Roll for Sandy channel because those videos you get to see my arms. If I want to know how to play the game, I can read the right. That's my argument too. Is there are plenty of people that do how to plays. There's too much competition. I don't have the equipment to be as impressive as they do, and quite honestly, those videos are a giant pain in the dick to edit, and I don't have time to do that. I'm running 4 channels here, soon to be 5. I don't have time to do that. Plus, I'm on Monkey in the Morning most days, and I've got this stream, which is really rare these days, and the other stream I do. So I got a lot going on. Plus, I got my real world shit I got to do too. I don't have time to edit together how to play some really overly complicated game that you would probably figure out better than me. So, because half the time I don't even read the instructions right the first time. We got to kind of play it out. Prefer the old table from years ago? Oh yeah. I don't remember. Yeah, the table I've got now is kind of smaller because the one side of it's busted off because I fell and my arm landed on the leaf and it ripped it off. My arms do not look evil, Costin. Sinister, perhaps, but not directly evil. Yeah, Donald, I do that all the time. What's in the box? In one of his laundry videos, you can see what Jack looks like blurred with his face half covered by a camera. Yeah, I'm actually in the background of a couple videos. A couple videos that are not on my channel where I accidentally appeared in somebody else's video. Gotta feed your basement guests. They are in my subterranean love den. It is not a basement. Yeah, you have to watch all 324 videos to see if you can see my fuzzy features. I'm just some average fat dude. It doesn't matter. Still need to find a way to make the crap I've made palatable. Just keep at it, man. Don't give up. RL is evil. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm a leaf on the wind. You're Canadian? How fat does your arms have to be to break a table? No, I didn't like my fat arms didn't do it. It was the momentum of me falling. I'm not on those videos, Frosted. That is a dirty rumor you started. Thank you, Jeffrey Dahmer. Never thought I'd say that. It says, you have nice. Can I come over for a bite to eat? No, you cannot, Jeffrey. No, that's not okay. You cannot munch on me. I am not a snack bar. The fan lost a little in its second season. I know. I was going to do a bunch more fan videos, but my ceiling fan broke. And I ran out of fans, basically. But the vending machine ones are pretty fun. Stuffed toy going around in the dryer. I've got a couple of those, like every 50 videos or so. There's a stuffed animal in one. I Wash You Pikachu was one of my biggest hits for me for the longest time. Canadians are evil. I should know. Yeah, a lot of Canadians are kind of, they talk funny, and I think they seem like they've killed people. That's why they're so nice, because they know what murder's like. Gravity's a harsh mistress. Oh, so true. I have a hard time staying on topic. You're listening to this stream, dude. I'm off topic all the time. How many people lost their shit when you were washing that Pikachu? Oh, I got messages like, what are you doing? That's an old one. It's pretty valuable as those things go. Yeah, apparently. I didn't know that. I think that one was my nephew's from when he was young. But I just thought it was a fat Pikachu. So I don't know. So I washed it. And yeah, I caught some crap from that. But whatever. I still have that thing. It's in a box somewhere. It's in storage, I think. It would be too expensive to mail it, so it just sits in a box. Subject to the Queen. I stopped when I became an adult. Oh. He's on to catch better. He's busy hanging out with dog, cat, fox. Shiba Inus are the delight. They will steal your soul with their looks, but they are adorable. Hey, sorry, Amantine, how you doing? Canadians are shifty. It's the winters, man. It makes them really kind of edgy because they got to survive and wrestle polar bears. I don't know what they do in Canada. I assume they ride mooses and we're trying to avoid the highway of tears. Canadians don't exist. They're just French propaganda. I think Quebec doesn't exist, and it's an attempt to annex Greenland by the French. That was Harry Potter's Pikachu. Yes, it was. Canada has more serial killers per capita than the U.S. Yeah, it's because there's so many dead spots in between. It's great places to dump bodies. All right, let's get back on topic here and talk about the new James Bond. They're updating him, you guys, for modern audiences. The franchise is going to evolve. This comes from the Telegraph. The next James Bond will be more in touch with his feelings, producers say. And look at that faraway stare. Like he's looking at that going, I'm glad I'm out. Next James Bond will have a bigger role for women and a more sensitive 007, according to producers, who said Bond is evolving just as men are evolving into women. So the plastic laundry bag episode threw me off. Expected to be stringing. I know, right? I like to try and keep people guessing. Barbara Broccoli said the next actor to take the role will continue the work of Daniel Craig, who cracked Bond open emotionally. I don't remember that. I didn't see No Time to Die, but I didn't really care to. Bond's last film humanized Bond by blah blah blah. I don't care. Spoilers. Asked by Variety magazine if these qualities would continue in the next Bond film, Broccoli agreed. It's an evolution. Bond is evolving just as men are evolving. I don't know who's evolving at a faster pace. Well, you're ruining it at a faster pace. I'll go with that. She and Michael G. Wilson, her fellow producer and half sibling, said it was in the early days in the search for the next actor to play Bond. Idris Elba was long considered a frontrunner for the role. Recently appeared to rule himself out of the running. Look, that dude's a great actor, but if they're going to make Bond all sensitive and boring, he's the wrong dude for it. I think he'd make a good Bond if they were making Bond movies like they were in the 70s and 80s. When we cast Bond, it's a 10 to 12 year commitment, so he's probably thinking, do I really want that thing? Not everybody wants to do that. Yeah, I wouldn't either, because he's like 50. Like I said, he's a 50-year-old actor. So he's probably too old. They need somebody about 35 to 40 to be doing that. That has to be in really good physical shape. So, yeah, they're going to do a bunch more like feel-good crap. And they're going to, oh, yeah, they even said it here. Director of UK's Time Up, which describes itself as an independent intersectional organization focused on rooting out sexual harassment at its source, the power imbalance that leaves women unequal in every industry. So one of the people who's producing the next Bond movie is the director of something that's trying to root out sexual harassment at its source. That should tell you all you need to know about this. Pierce Brosnan, I think, had the most suave look for Bond. Yeah. No frosted. No. Oh, wow. I mean, you watched it for videos twice, so nowhere near that. It was in storage for like probably 6 years before I got to it. And I actually did follow the directions on washing care. So it's actually cleaner now than it was before. I think it was kind of gross before, actually. So yeah, I don't know what it's worth, but shit, if before you said that, if you'd offered me $20 for it, you could have had it. But I'm not shipping that fucking thing. So yeah, I don't even know where it's at. It's in my storage unit somewhere. HR department's taking over. Yeah. They're creatively bankrupt. They're just doing this woke shit because they think it sells. And they want to make everything boring. Bronson was great. Tomorrow Never Dies is my favorite. The World Is Not Enough was my favorite Pierce Brosnan one. I thought that was the superior one of his run. It was the best written. That's just me, though. I don't remember Tomorrow Never Dies, honestly. I know I saw it, but there's a lot of Bond movies I haven't seen, and other ones I don't remember, but once I start watching them, I'll be like, oh yeah, I've seen this. Gary Busey as James Bond. Oh, that'd be a disaster. You'll end when my video does. Oh, yeah, these streams kind of go as they go. I don't really know what to say to that, but they just sort of, I meander a lot because of Denise Richards. Yeah, that's fair. But I liked her better as a Bond girl than Halle Berry. And I know that's probably sacrilege, but $30 shipping. Wow. Yeah, I sold some old Star Wars toys that had been like they were disgusting. They had like some kind of mud on them. I think they had been in a flood. I'm not sure, but I found them in my dad's garage, and they were probably mine from when I was a kid. And I sold them for like $50 and $10 shipping, and they went like that. They were just gone within an hour of posting them. 4 lots of them. And I was like, yeah, I think I undervalued that. Because they were caked in mud and all disgusting. And I told people that. I showed them a picture, and they still went really fast. So somebody had a way to get that gunk off. And they didn't even have any weapons or anything. I think there was one lightsaber in the entire thing. But the same dude bought them all. He read all the stories in preparation. But yeah, I like Timothy Dalton. I was real sad that he didn't do more. Because he has that like upper crust sound to him. You know, he's that that posh sound to him. I thought he did a good job. I liked him. Barry Was Dying Another Day. Okay. That one was dumb. I can't remember any of these things. They all kind of blur together. All right. Over here on CBR, comic book legend Carlos Pacheco reveals ALS diagnosis. That sucks. He's got Lou Gehrig's disease. Superstar comic artist Carlos Pacheco, let's not get carried away with titles here, perhaps best known for his maxi series Avengers Forever and the graphic novel JLA, JSA, Virtue and Vice, as well as his runs on X-Men, Excalibur, Fantastic Four, Green Lantern, and Captain America, has revealed he's been diagnosed with the neurodegenerative disease, ALS. I'm not even going to try to pronounce any of that. Spanish artist made the tragic announcement on his Facebook page before deleting the post. He has since responded to tweets about the diagnosis, though. Yeah, that's awful. I wish this guy all the best because that is a shit diagnosis. ALS, also referred to as Lou Gehrig's disease, since the famous New York Yankee legend died of the illness, is an ailment that leads to the progressive loss of motor neurons that control voluntary muscles. It eventually leads to paralysis and a greatly reduced lifespan. That's in Spanish. He says, it's translated here. Well, it cannot be. The final diagnostic has made it clear. ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, is what it is and is what needs to be dealt with. It's true that this is an unexpected turn of event in my life, but this doesn't make me feel less fortunate to have lived the life I have lived, for the experiences I've had, the achievements I've made, and the people I've been fortunate enough to cross paths with. In truth, it's been a life that's gone beyond my wildest childhood dreams. Thank you to everyone who has been here. Let's keep going as always. Earlier, he announced a sabbatical from comics when he dealt with health issues, and unfortunately, that turned out to be ALS. He apparently had paralysis in his right leg. It was not due to a spinal injury, but the onset of ALS. It's unclear what Pacheco's immediate plans are for his art career. He's probably going to retire and spend as much time as he can with his family. And that's tragic. And my condolences to him and his family, because that's a rough go. He is a pretty talented guy. Not my favorite artist, but it's a rough thing to get a diagnosis like that. And as we age, many things show up in our lives, and most of them are not good. So all the best to him. Dalton's a good actor. I didn't like him as Bond. Yeah, I like those movies, but I haven't seen them in like 20-some years. So I might hate them now, but I remember liking them before. We're going to gloss over that, Assassin. That's a fact that's inconvenient now. I think I could get like 2K for my Pokemon cards. I mean, going through the effort of setting up an eBay account and shipping them. Yeah, shipping cards is a lot easier than larger objects or heavier objects. Like, you try and send electronics now, and it's a giant pain in the ass. Got hours of walking videos and tens of thousands of original photos, but I should probably figure out which music to use unless you'd want to hear my random ramblings. You'd be amazed what people watch, Simon. You'd be amazed. They watch my damn laundry. There's one video that's got like 27,000 views on it from my laundry. You could put anything up, somebody will watch it. It's just the way it is. Then there's the fire experiments. Yeah, that might be popular with people that really like fire. ALS is a death sentence. Yeah, unfortunately it is. It's still pretty rare disease. They don't know enough about it. I don't think I'd want to have that. There's worse ways to go, I suppose, but that's pretty bad. 15 to 20K range. Yeah, I've got a strange assortment of views on those. But the unboxing videos are kind of the same way. Some of them really take off. Others have like 10 views on them. It's completely random. I don't understand it. Yeah, you're true. That's true, Assassin. I ship ticking alarm clocks to keep people on their toes. The post office must hate you. Some of the viewers are ASMR people. A lot of them are washing machine enthusiasts. Yeah, people ask me like, what kind of washer is that? What kind of dryer is that? And the washer videos are definitely more popular than the dryer videos. I think that's, what I think the dryer is a little more calming, but hey, some people like the washer, whatever. And yeah, they use it as white noise, and I've got them all in playlists, so you can watch just the washers or just the dryers or both. But people really watch a lot of that stuff. I'm trying to get that channel monetized so I can actually make some money off it because laundry's expensive. Before the apocalypse, I was pulling enough money to pay for my laundry doing that, and now I make nothing on that channel. We used to write "Do not feed" on shipping boxes until the shop got visited. Yeah, they don't take too kindly to that. Something to say enough to get data recovery. Oh, yeah. Well, don't give up, man. Keep trying. Keep at it. Be amazed what people watch. It just takes a while to build an audience. It's a lot harder than it used to be. The way the algorithm is structured, it favors people that are monetized or people that have pre-existing audiences for other channels, that sort of thing. So it's a lot harder to actually get the hours and subscribers you need. But that's not a reason to give up. All right, we're going to get into some fun stuff. It's really shitty art here in a little bit. So stick with me till the end. We only have 4 more articles, and then we're going to look at some really bad art. New York Post, ex-Riverdale actor Ryan Grantham sentenced to life in prison for murdering his mother. We talked about this kid previously, and now he's been sentenced. Riverdale actor Ryan Grantham was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the first 14 years after he admitted murdering his mother and also plotting to take out the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. The 24-year-old learned his fate at British Columbia Supreme Court in Vancouver on Wednesday, more than 6 months after he pleaded guilty to a second-degree murder charge for the March 2020 killing of his mother, Barbara Waite, 64, whom he shot in the back of the head as she played the piano. At least she didn't have to see it coming. In delivering the sentence, Justice Catherine Kerr described the case as tragic, heartbreaking, and life-shattering. Prosecutors said at a hearing in June that after he fatally shot his mother on March 31st, 2020, at the family's home in Squamish, British Columbia, he recorded a video with a GoPro camera in which he confessed and showed her lifeless body. That's fucked up. The actor then bought beer and weed and experimented with making Molotov cocktails and watched Netflix before covering his mom's body with a sheet and going to bed. The following day, he hung a rosary on his mother's piano and arranged lit candles around the body before loading his car with 3 guns, ammo, 12 Molotovs, camping gear, and directions to where Trudeau lives. He later confessed to detectives about his plans to do bad things. He also wrote about it in his journal. You know what's sad is he's probably getting more time for that plan than actually killing his mom. So yeah, if you like Riverdale, this kid's a psycho. So there you go, sentenced to life in prison. Can't even be eligible for parole for 14 years. Yeah, life without parole doesn't mean the same thing in Canada. I think it's like 20 years. And then you can be you have eligibility of parole even with life without parole for some stupid ass reason. Netflix and kill, basically. She was playing Wonderwall. Jesus, that's dark, dude. That would explain it, though. You know who also has regrets in life? aside from probably all of us. Elizabeth Banks. Now, you may remember her from, I think she was in that unfunny Ghostbusters movie. Pretty sure. I don't know. I don't really care. And she's kind of a feminist, but she also directed Charlie's Angels, that most recent reboot of it. And now she regrets marketing it. It wasn't a feminist manifesto, just an action movie. Unfortunately, from what I've seen of it, it was a feminist manifesto. Looking back at the poor box office performance of her 2019 Charlie's Angels reboot, Elizabeth Banks has some regrets about the film's marketing. I wish that the movie had not been presented as just for girls because I didn't make it just for girls, Banks told the New York Times. There was a disconnect on the marketing side of it for me. Well, we're going to see some contradiction on that. Banks said that when women do things in Hollywood, it becomes this story. There was a story around Charlie's Angels that I was creating some feminist manifesto. I was just making an action movie. She admitted would have liked to have made Mission Impossible, but women aren't directing Mission Impossible. I was able to direct an action movie, frankly, because it starred women and I'm a female director, and that is the confine right now in Hollywood. Well, whose fault is that? Maybe if we didn't have all these identity politics, you could go back to making whatever you want instead of like, well, you're a girl, you got to do girl stuff, and only Asians can be ninjas. But I still am bitter about the Snake Eyes movie. Banks recalled a time when a big producer of big action movies told her she couldn't direct action because male actors were not going to follow me. That's bullshit, and we all know it. Banks' Charlie's Angels reboot cost Sony and its financiers $48 million, but it floundered at North American box office with only $8.6 million in its opening weekend, and it went downhill from there. I think they cleared like 12. Ahead of the release, Banks told the Herald Sun back in 2019, if this movie doesn't make money, it reinforces a stereotype in Hollywood that men don't go see women do action movies. And that's bullshit because there were plenty of women action stars. Michelle Yeoh, Cynthia Rothrock, shit, Ripley from the Aliens movies. The later ones were basically just action films. Laura Croft. There's tons of women action stars. What are you talking about? Despite it being a commercial flop, Banks said she's proud of the movie. Did she never hear of Kill Bill? Has she never heard of Lucy Liu, who was in the previous Charlie's Angels reboot, was also in Kill Bill? So yeah, she contradicts herself because now she's like, it wasn't a feminist manifesto, but when you were marketing the film, you were making it out to be a feminist manifesto. We all saw what you said previously. Shut up. I'm sorry your eggs are turning to powder. It's not our fault. Yep, exactly, BG. The movie bombed and she's mad about it. And so she's got to make up for that somehow. It's not my fault. It's everybody else. Yeah, Underworld, Resident Evil. Yeah, anything with Mila Jovovich. Oh, Mila. Oh, I got the vapors for a second. Yeah, there have been plenty of women. Brigitte Nielsen. Somebody mentioned Red Sonja. You know what male actors say to women directors when they get told to do something? Exactly. They say, please don't fire me. I want to be an actor. Yeah, exactly. Aliens, eight-legged freaks. Yeah. From what I've heard about the plot, it was undeniably a feminist movie. Yes, it was. Patrick Stewart was in it, and he really cucked hard. Oh, yeah, Foxy Brown. Cleopatra Jones. Women have been leading movies for a long, long time, even action movies. If you want to go back and look at Naoka, Queen of the Jungle from the 1940s serial, that was led by a woman. It was an action star. Ran into Lucy Liu in Manhattan when she was making Elementary. Got her to laugh when I told her she should have won the sword fight against Uma. Yeah, she should have. Absolutely. And I kind of liked Elementary. It grated on me after a while, but I thought the premise was interesting, and I thought she was good in that show. Probably ran its course a little while before it should have. It should have ended a lot sooner than it did. Catherine Bigelow made Point Break and won an Oscar for The Hurt Locker. The difference, she made good movies. Yeah, exactly. I didn't see the Monster Hunter movie. I thought it looked like it might be a fun, bad movie. because Mila tends to do those, unfortunately. But Ultraviolet was dog shit, and I'll stand by that because it was so fucking stupid. But the Monster Hunter one, I just haven't got around to watching. Katharine Hepburn, Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor and Cleopatra, I'd give you that one. Katharine Hepburn, she was great on Voyager. On Golden Voyager, yeah. Monster Hunter was crap, but it looked like fun crap. Oh, thank you, Frank, who says, I kind of wish he would have gone after Castro's kid first. Canada would have been better off. Well, we can only hope, think in the, hindsight, unfortunately. And thank you, John Wayne Gacy, who says, when do I get my Netflix special? I think they did one on him, actually. There have been several movies on Gacy, but I think Netflix did one. It might have been a documentary and not a reenactment, though. Guess I should plug my phone in as its percentage is the amount of hours in a day. Yeah, that's not good. Monster Hunter was bad in a bad way. Ooh, yeah, that's not good. My buddy, he played Monster Hunter a lot, but I never played it, so I only have a passing familiarity with the game. So I'd probably be able to enjoy it a little more than gamers would. But it did look like a bad movie, but it looked fun. Hot so long she was hot on Married with Children as a young actress. So was Tia Carrera. Oh yeah, Tia Carrera. Wow, I had such a crush on her. Oh, she was so hot, and she did that really good song for the Batman Mask of the Phantasm soundtrack. I really like that song. But yeah, I used to watch that Treasure Hunter show she did. It was like a Tomb Raider knockoff because I thought she was so cute. They called it. Ultraviolet looked like they were trying to do the hypervisual style like Speed Racer. Yeah, they were trying to market that one toward an international audience, and that's why the dialogue was incredibly simplistic and looked like it was dubbed in. And it didn't work. The storyline had like a European comic feel, and it wasn't done well. And the twist was stupid. It was very predictable, too. Brian Dennehy played Casey in a movie long before the Netflix was a thing. Yeah, I remember that one. There were a couple of Gacy movies. I saw a BTK one that was really stupid recently. Speaking of serial killers. Isn't that the one that the anime called Monster Rancher? I don't know about Monster Rancher. I know that had a video game, but Monster Hunter is real popular with like was it on Nintendo or something? I don't know much about it. You run around and hunt monsters. It's not like a Pokemon type. You actually like build bows and arrows and take quests to go kill specific monsters for parts. So I don't know enough about it. Maybe that was just in pussified Canada. I have a feeling that Canada is a Digimon country and America is a Pokemon country. They probably liked VR Troopers too. New Netflix Gacy doc was good. Oh, cool. Yeah, I remember seeing it in the queue, but I never watched it. Watched Ultraviolet once ages ago. Yeah, the twist was stupid. It was very predictable. She did still look good in it. Yeah, absolutely. She always looks good though, because she's a very beautiful woman. And she's got a thigh gap. And it's really noticeable in Fifth Element, which is a great movie. Everybody should watch it. Speed Racer source material so cheesy it worked for me. I like the Speed Racer movie. I thought it was really well done. And I like the cartoon too. I even like that they had Chim Chim in there. So I think that was a really underrated movie because it was supposed to be cheesy and it was just a fun movie. And it had race cars. I mean, that was an ultimate kids movie. If I was like 8 years old, I would have loved that fucking movie. But I enjoyed it as an adult. I thought it was really shockingly good. Very underrated. Matthew Fox was great in it as Racer X. Beast Wars Beasties because kids shows couldn't have war in the title. Oh, that's stupid. Beasties? Ugh. Ugh. That sounds like a breakfast cereal. Mom, pass the Beasties. Ugh. No. No. I'm sorry, Simon. You got robbed. All right, from Variety, Kenya Barris says the Wizard of Oz remake will include LGBTQ representation to reflect the world. So you're going to go to a entirely other dimension beyond time and space to this magical land of Oz, but it's got to reflect the world we live in. Glinda's going to be a hairy she-male, isn't he? Somewhere over the rainbow, indeed. Kenya Barris tells me that the LGBTQ representation will be featured in his Wizard of Oz remake. The original was an allegory and a reflection of the way the world was at the time when things of the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl. No, it was not, says Barris, who will write and direct the reimagining for Warner Brothers that nobody asked for. Now we're going to turn a mirror on where we're at right now and take disparate characters from the LGBTQ community, from different cultural communities and socioeconomic communities, and tell a story that reflects the world. I think this is the best time to do that. He understands the Wizard of Oz remake comes with tremendous pressure. I'm nervous, Barris tells me. Hopefully my movie can last as long as the original does. He ends with a laugh. Hopefully my movie comes out. Hopefully it's fucking canceled. Another Wizard of Oz remake is in the works at New Line Cinema with Nicole Kessler directing. She directed The Watchmen. I think that was the TV show. I think this is a terrible idea. First of all, if you wanted to make a different Wizard of Oz take, The Wiz was really good for that. But Wizard of Oz is a classic. You're going to stray so far from the source material for this. And how much you want to bet that either the wizard or the witch is based on Trump? Because I would put money it is. New Lollipop Guild. They're not going to have any midgets in it. Oh, I agree, Frosted. The wizard will be trans, hence him pretending to be something he's not. Yeah, there'll be a lot of blatant allegories that beat you over the head with it. From different socioeconomic communities. I'm part of the poor community. My class interest is gay. Yeah, the Scarecrow is going to represent poor people. He's buying into a lot of the stereotypes that people have dug into and read into the Wizard of Oz. There's a lot of like conspiracy stuff about the gold standard in there. That's much more believable than some of the other ones, but he's trying to say that the Wizard of Oz book was some sort of allegory for its time, and it really wasn't. It was a story that L. Frank Baum told his kids, and he eventually rewrote the storyline into these like bedtime stories he'd tell the kids and these neighborhood kids, and he rewrote them into one narrative. And he even like contradicted himself in the other later books, because in one book they had a currency, and in another book they didn't. And in the first Wizard of Oz book, you get these green glasses. The Emerald City was not actually emerald. The glasses were, so you could see everything as green. It was sort of a rose-colored glasses theme. But later on, he retroactively changed that and made it an actual Emerald City. Yeah, Sci-Fi did a remake. They did that Tin Man movie. There's been a lot of different takes on Wizard of Oz, but it's public domain. But he's remaking the Judy Garland movie. Gee, I can't read some of those comments, guys. Yeah, this guy is in talks. Like they're speculating that he's going to be in it. Kelly Rowland wasn't aware Beyonce would be dropping her. Whatever, I don't care about that crap. So yeah, this guy's going to make a woke version of Wizard of Oz. Boring. Nobody asked for it. If you want a diverse cast, just watch The Wiz. The songs were better. It was more fun. And it was a pretty good retelling of the same story. And it kept the theme. But they don't want to do that. They got to make the new intersectional bullshit. But let's look at some other stuff here. Because I've complained about Marvel Comics a lot in the past. But this new issue of Amazing Spider-Man number 10 that just came out is a tie-in to Axe Judgment Day. Axe is Avengers, X-Men, and Eternals. Judgment Day miniseries. And now there's some tie-ins where the Celestial that was resurrected, that the Avengers have been living in, has basically they took the plot of Secret Wars 2, and he's going around and judging the heroes to see if they're worthy or some bullshit. It's kind of nonsensical. It's okay. It's not that good. But in Amazing Spider-Man number 10, Gwen Stacy is brought to life again to basically help pass judgment on Peter. Oh yeah, Beth, I agree with you. And this is the art that you get. Absorb it. Breathe it in. This is a superhero. This is a man among men. And let's get a closer look at old crying boy. That's fucking Spider-Man. Spider-Man, everybody. Oh, thank you, Cougar. Glad you're watching. Hope you're being entertained. Yeah, Dangerous. But they're full of contradictions. It just means their movie's gonna suck. The Gweniverse lives on? Absolutely. What? Yeah, this is some of the laziest art I've ever seen. And Marvel's been going downhill for a while. But I'm going to show you worse art in a minute. Now, what makes me mad is what Spider-Man's been doing. They relaunched the series yet again. And this is issue 10. And we've got Gwen Stacy being brought back to life. Also, Mary Jane is married to somebody else and has 2 kids. I'm not reading this trash. First of all, Marvel Comics are almost all 20 pages now for $4. And that is a pamphlet. I'm not paying you for a pamphlet, Marvel. I won't pay full price for any Marvel comic until they stop this crap. And this art is garbage. Like, she doesn't look as bad. I mean, it's anime style art, but look at him. His eyes aren't even pointing in the same direction. If you look real close, I know it's hard to see on the screen, but this eye, the white of his eye is kind of pointed up in this direction, and this one is more pointed across. It's garbage. This is trash art. The background I'll let slide, okay? This is a known thing that people have been doing since the beginning of comics. You just have a lot of solid colors. Fine. But there's no reason that he should look like he's got Down syndrome in this panel. I mean, he looks confused and scared. And this piece of his hair keeps changing sides. What's that all about? And I just picked a random page. The whole book looks like this. So there you go. There's your Spider-Man book. That they want $4 for that. But if you want to really feel ripped off for your money, and really, really want to pay $4 for some shit art, allow me to show you Tim Drake Robin issue 1. Get ready. Prepare yourself. That's a superhero. I don't know what's going on with this giraffe neck. Maybe he's got mechanic powers now. Looks windows like a spider cat. So yeah, this is it. And that's his boyfriend, by the way. That's not a girl. That's his boyfriend, Bernard. Bernard! Can't believe I was able to sneak up on you. I'm telling you, I'm starting to think some of these writers are from the Daily Stormer or some other like blatantly anti-gay group. Look, they even have a little heart over here. Oh my God, because they're in love now. Because Tim's bisexual for some reason now. Just in the last like year or so. He's into dudes. We don't know why. He just suddenly is. Both look like crap. They do. Yeah, Robin #1 from the 90s you could get for less than $10. And I'd recommend buying that over this trash. Because at least Chuck Dixon knows how to write a fucking comic book. Let me give you some of these other images here. This is the preview from Bleeding Cool. Look at that fucking face. What is this shit? Those eyes I mean, there's no proportionality here. None of this makes any physical sense. He looks uncanny valley. If I saw somebody that looked like this in an alleyway like this or on a dock, I'd run for my fucking life. This is terrifying art. The bird looks good. Nothing else does. This looks like, I've seen Popeye cartoons that have better art than this. And they want $4 for this shit. This just came out on Wednesday. Or Tuesday, technically, because DC comes out on Tuesdays now. But most comic shops don't put them out till Wednesday. So this issue came out. I saw it on the stands. The cover is garbage, too. It's not pictured on here. But the cover, it actually has a very similar art style. I think it's the same artist. And it's awful. I would not spend $4 on this. This is garbage art. And notice the lack of any interesting colors. Like you have a little bit of pink here. But it's the same color scheme in all these panels. The background coloring is the same as the foreground. There's shades of blue. It's boring. This is not interesting. I understand this is a night shot, but it's boring. There's no like yellow lights or anything. There's no real color distinction. And this, whatever the fuck this nonsense is abysmal art. Here we get a little bit more color, but the proportionality is still awful. It's got this horrific anime style art that isn't good on anime. I mean, these faces are nightmarish. I mean, if I saw this face, I would run in terror. This is like some Black-Eyed Kids level of freaky. Surprisingly, no, Rotten Corpse, different universe, but basically the same thing. They're making Supergirl gay now too, apparently, and the rumor is Bruce Wayne's going to be bi as well. Gay people are a tiny part of your audience. They're actually the majority of the audience now because most people are sick of these pandering comics that are leaving Marvel and DC. Their sales are garbage on these books. And it's not just this insipid art, it's the storytelling is boring as well. They're making everyone gay just for the sake of it's fan fiction. I've actually read some better fan fiction than some of these comics. Oh, yeah, it's because it is half-assed retro. I can't read that, Assassin, but not going to say anything more on that. But this is garbage. This is trash art. And look, we've looked at 4 pages. This one's the only thing that had anything that might be interesting in it. They got this bird with the dead fish thing. Fine. It looks like a Scooby-Doo mystery. But this one is, the entire page is him getting freaked out by his boyfriend. And then this one is them eating. So out of 3 pages, we have 1 page of eating, 1 page of being scared. And this is, how many pages is this? It's going to be about 24 pages if it's a DC book. So then here's another page with eating. I mean, they're still eating. And they're talking. You and your boyfriend are invited. They're invited to a cookout. All right, let's read this. The city hates us. Hate? Mira is often dramatic, but she's not wrong. They've been trying to evict everyone so they can turn our marina into some fancy, expensive place none of us can afford to live in. Which Bernard says, capitalist fat cats. So it's gentrification, shitting on capitalism, and we have the word hate. The boy gets it. Now come, Camille. We have more flyers. Mur, stop calling me that. It's Cam. Cam is a stupid name. What kind of name is that? That's not what I named you. I like your neighbors. They're weird. That's riveting dialogue right there. If I was watching the CW and had a traumatic brain injury that involved me losing all sense of knowledge of history and reading literature that I've ever done, this would be riveting shit. Oh, look, there's another page. They're still at the table eating. They don't leave until here, and there's little heartsease. Oh my gosh. Look at how romantic that is. And look at his weird ostrich neck with the dislocated jaw. This isn't Plastic Man. This is fucking Robin. So, yeah, we've had 5 pages here. One page, something slightly interesting happened. The spooky jump scare. Eating. More eating and babbling. Nothing relevant, just some gentrification. Some more sitting around. And then, oh, look, it's like, where'd Billy go from Family Circus? There's the cover. I don't know what's going on here. This is supposed to be his leg. I get what they're going for, but this is trash. The dialogue is terrible. It reads like some really bad Twitter exchanges. It's not how normal people talk. And that's another complaint I have about modern comics is they don't actually go out and have conversations. They just copy Twitter interactions is how it looks. Too many people do not know how to have a conversation or what an actual conversation is, let alone the brevity of a conversation. Everything that happened here could have been condensed down. This entire interaction should have been about 3 panels. And it should have been very brief. At most, this entire sequence could have been knocked down to 2 pages. At most. Probably a page and a half. And most of this dialogue is frivolous drivel that doesn't need to be there. One of the points of comic books is it's condensed. So you have an entire story. They don't do that because the books are shorter now and they have to sell trade paperbacks because that's where the real money is. Did a whole stream on that subject? Yeah, I know, but it just enrages me that this crap sells in any respect. That they're trying to push this on us for $4. It's insulting. Starving artists should draw food. True. The artist is, I believe it's Rossmo. The cover artist is Riley Rossmo. Or no, the cover artist is Ricardo Lopez Ortiz. The interior art was Riley Rossmo. What's sad is this art is actually better than what's in the book. Because this is way less talented than this is. Because at least this has some action on it. There's a sense of peril. They have facial expressions that don't make me want to run and hide behind a car. And maybe run people over. And at least the marquee looks, or the masthead looks good. This is trash. Look, the alternate cover is fucking better than the entire art that we just saw. And I don't even really like this one. Oh, that's Jorge Jimenez. Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of his work, but at least that guy's talented. This is actually more talented if you like manga type stuff. I don't like this art style. I think it's weird. And he's got like a pointy nose. But at least I can recognize this artist has some talent. I don't think this artist does. I think this is nightmare fuel. It's weird abstract art from like advertisements from France. And I don't like the French that much. The author's the only one who liked the Barbarella Thoris crossover. I have a good one, Rotten Corpse. What next? The soap opera based on YouTube comment section? Wouldn't surprise me. Because I'm serious. I don't think these people talk to other people in real life. They have maybe a conversation at Starbucks and they all talk like they do on Twitter. If they actually communicate with each other in real life. Yeah, I agree, Donald. I would love to buy good comics again. And they're really hard to find. There's a few out there from the big 2. But I have a real hard time recommending anything because so much of it looks like this shit. I like Robin. I like Tim Drake. And then they do this weird goofy crap and turn him into a walking stereotype. It's stupid. It's lazy. And I'm bored with it. It's not even like to the point where you could make fun of it. It's just lazy. And it's uninteresting. 2 people sitting around eating is not interesting. That is not a plot. That's a stage play. an uninteresting stage play. I mean, they all think they're the next coming of like Dostoevsky or Hemingway or something, or they all want to be I don't know. I'm too angry and tired to think straight. This is trash. And I saw this on the stand today because I actually went to the comic shop. I didn't buy anything because I didn't have any money, but I was getting my pull list around, to have them hold stuff for me. I think I did pick up a couple books. I don't remember, but I didn't have a lot of money, so I saw this. And I was like, "Oh, Tim Drake Robin." Nope, not buying this. The cover turned me off. Flipping through it made me want to vomit. The interior art is what you see in a college fanzine about students struggling with classes. Yeah, it looks like fanzine art. This isn't even for the indies. This is fanzine. Damn capitalist fat, says the guy trained by a billionaire. Oh no, this is his boyfriend, the one freeloading off of him. His boyfriend said that. Tim was the only Robin who went and got the job as Robin because he figured out who Batman was. Yeah, Tim Drake was a very well-rounded character. He had an entire story arc. His dad ended up getting murdered while he was Robin. They went to rescue his dad and didn't work. There was an actual story arc for that character. And honestly, Tim Drake probably is the best Robin. Dick Grayson has moved on to be his own character. Nightwing, fine. He's a good substitute Batman. Because during storyline Prodigal, that was really interesting with Dick Grayson as Batman and Tim Drake as Robin. Damian Wayne is a stupid substitute. Terrible. But again, Dan DiDio wanted to age everybody up because he hates legacy characters. So we ended up with Damian Wayne. And Tim Drake kind of got tossed aside. And now they're making him Robin again. And they do this shit with him. How long is this series going to last? Probably not very long. It's really, really lazy. But I liked Robin Tim Drake when he first appeared in the Lonely Place of Dying storyline. Batman was directionless, still kind of recovering from Jason Todd's death. And I hated Jason Todd, but he is a still better character than Damian Wayne. But there was a really interesting storyline there with Tim, and they really developed him over time. Chuck Dixon did a great job fleshing that character out and making him into a standalone hero that could carry his own book. And then they do this crap to him. You eventually have to plan to have superheroes in your superhero comic, right? Well, you'd think so. I would say the second coming of Tommy Wiseau, but he's better than this crap. At least his stuff was entertaining. Yeah. Tommy Wiseau has largely embraced the meme, and good for him for it. He's got a kind of a career doing that. But at least he was trying. This shit doesn't even look like they're trying. When I was in the service, we devoured comics. Not they can't sell them on the base to a captive audience. Yeah, now you can't sell this. You can't give some of this stuff away. A lot of the stuff I see on the stands ends up in the dollar bins. This stuff is forgettable. It's boring. It's not interesting. And I mean, you're going to go back and be like, oh my god, that She-Hulk issue where she fought that TV guy because she was watching a baking show and he went evil, and they sat around and ate for half the issue. That was so memorable. No, nobody wants to remember this shit. It's boring. It's very, very forgettable. And it'll be a largely forgotten period in comics history because it's just political bullshit. And it's not that interesting. Yeah, I saw that, Ori. Fucking lame. Chuck Dixon. Dixon. Slight improvement on stick figure art. I think stick figure would be much more interesting. How's it going, Mr. Hugh? So yeah, that's kind of where we're at with comics is really shitty failed indie art that, I mean, at best would be in advertising or funny books. I don't know any other way to look at it, because like comic strips might look like this, but these aren't comic books. This is comic strips or fanzines or something along those lines. I don't know what this shit is, but this is fan fiction. And it's really disappointing to see. But there are some pluses. They are reprinting some older stuff that was good, like Avengers 2 with Beast and Wonder Man. That was good. It was at least much more entertaining than this trash. They want $4 for this. I'd pay the $8 or $9 for the Avengers book instead. Or just dig through the back issue bins and pay $2.50 for the single issues. Oh, it'll be remembered. Just remembered how Hacks managed to kill Big Two. Yeah. Cyanide Happiness does stick figures better. Oh, absolutely. And at least that's entertaining and to the point. The brevity, you can't have these long-winded, boring things with people eating. Nobody fucking cares about that. This is stuff that people buy or claim they like so that they will get some kind of credibility with their bourgeoisie, boring friends. It's sort of a keeping up with the Joneses with the progressive stack. It's really lazy. And I know people that are like this. I got a friend that for a long time was buying comics because he was like, it was the hip, cool thing. He tends to follow the hipster trends a lot. And he was like, oh, yeah, I've been buying this book. Oh, did you read it? No. Well, then what'd you fucking buy it for? What a waste of money. I love Mullet Superman, and I know it was bad, but it was better than this shit today. Yeah, absolutely. At least then Superman's stories were well written. I didn't really, the mullet thing, I don't really care. That was at least a fashion trend for a little while, but some of this crap is just boring. I was a hipster before it was cool, right? I was into nerd shit when it was not liked, and everybody hated it. They'd beat you up for it. All right, it's really all I had for today. Managed to drag that out into 3 hours, mostly because I got distracted talking about bad movies. But that was fun. Trying to think there was another movie I bought recently, but Sky Sharks. I'm super excited to watch. I'm probably gonna watch that after this, or I'll get distracted doing some YouTube shit. Hard to say. Would you compare any of these modern comic redoings of a classic song getting on? I don't know. I don't know how I would do that, Simon. Just in time to say goodbye. How's it going, Eagle? Sorry, man. I saw you over on Adonis Paul's stream the other day. I didn't get a chance to say hi because I was doing something else while I was listening. So hi. Consider yourself swirled in the toilet. Ew. First they came for our fedoras, but I did not wear a fedora. I actually had a fedora for a while when I was in high school. I was that guy. Way before it was cool again. But I liked I like that like 40s look where everybody had suits and cool hats. Representing themselves boring people with boring lives. Yeah, that's the problem. They don't know anything and they're boring people. They have no imagination and they're hacks. For suspected nerdery. Oh, I got a lot of that, dude. I was absolutely guilty of the nerdery though. Yeah, you have to learn how to take a punch or get your blood to clot quickly. Halloween is coming, second annual bad horror film movie review in the works. Yeah, I'll probably do another stream where I recommend bad movies. Probably a lot of the same ones too, because I forget which ones I've already recommended and liked, and I'll just redo them again. You got a fedora, but don't wear it very often. Yeah, I think they look cool, but the nerds have kind of ruined it. Fedoras are objectively cool, but they've become associated with losers. Exactly, Frosted. If you lived in the 40s, it'd been perfect because those hats were fucking awesome. But now, a bunch of fucking idiots have ruined it for everyone, just like they've done with the MCU. Simon, we all were. Let's face it, if you're watching a comic book stream, you were probably a nerd in some regard. It's just more socially acceptable to be a football nerd than it is to be a comic book nerd. They don't like people that read a lot. I used to have this friend, or associate, I should say. I didn't really get to hang out with him much. He was a super nerd, like the stereotypical science nerd type. And he would just find the weirdest things cool and tell everybody. I tried to keep my nerddom to where people knew I was a nerd because, school. But I tried not to talk about it too much. I didn't sit there and talk about Batman and shit like that. No, they knew I read comic books, but I didn't really try and discuss it. Because if you talked about it, you were going to get punched in the dick by somebody. I didn't need that kind of pressure. Oh, football's way gayer than comics, which is saying something these days. The Milady meme killed fedoras? Yes. Yes, it did. Milady and that guy from that guy with the glasses with that wore the fedora and says, "Have you learned your lesson?" That guy, he ruined it too. People like him. I think Freaked is my favorite bad movie. Mr. Tears, the bearded lady cracks me up. I don't think I've seen that one. Don't draw attention to yourself. That's kind of my goal in life, is to just blend in. I just want to be left alone largely. Do these streams where I get to hang out and talk nerd stuff for a while, and then go about my day to day and not be acknowledged for the most part. Say hi to your friends or whatever. Otherwise, I want to be left alone. I don't stand out. I don't dye my hair. I don't look goofy. I just try and dress in normal clothes and not draw attention to myself. Because drawing attention to yourself is the first step toward getting in trouble. Was a car nerd in high school? I wish I knew more about cars. Because that's a useful nerddom. Like any kind of tinkering thing, electronics, computer stuff. I didn't know any of that shit. Try to reject my nerdness, but it won't leave. You can't. You can try, but it doesn't go anywhere. Because eventually you'll be like, "Oh my god, that's awesome," and then you'll buy something and be like, "Oh, I've succumbed again." Metal nerd was more socially acceptable when we grew up, at least with the youth. Yeah, we had like some metalheads, but we had a tiny subculture of that. Oh, have a good one, Mr. Hugh. Car lore is pretty in depth. Yeah, I don't know shit about cars. Alex Winter, you mean? Yeah, I didn't see it. Bad at tinkering with anything. Yeah, I pretty much will. If I'm touching your electronics, they're probably broken. If they weren't before, they are now. Watched any Professor of Rock videos? No, never heard of that. It's a good copy of Freaked on YouTube from '93. Oh, yeah, I'll look into that. Yeah, I think Rollerblade is still on the YouTubes. Let me look. That's one of my favorite low budget films. I think it should be 2 words. Santa Coy. Oh, the trailer's on here. Here's a sampling of the type of movies I find to be fun, low budget. Death Race 2000. Oh, that's a great film. 70s and 80s rock. Oh, that's cool. I like 70s and 80s rock. NASCAR fan. I never got into NASCAR. My parents weren't sports people. Oh, there's a copy of Prayer for the Roller Boys on here. Holy shit. I own that on DVD. Prayer of the Roller Boys, if you haven't seen that, that's a fun one. It's like Gleaming the Cube, but less exciting. While wearing a fedora. Let's see. That's people's reviews of it. But I know Rollerblade was on YouTube for a long time. And it had sequels. The guy made like 7 movies of it because there was like the Rollerblade 7. And I don't remember the names of any of the other ones. But there were a handful of quasi sequels, and even people with samurai swords, katanas rolling around on roller skates because that's not dangerous at all. And Rollerblade Warriors was the much forgotten sequel to Rollerblade, and it had Kathleen Kinmont in it. And oh man, she was hot back then. Watched a movie a few months back, made me think of you. Space Truckers. Oh, I've seen that. That's a classic. Here's a clip from Rollerblade Warriors. Yeah, Suzanne Solari. That's right. Just about to ask about Prayer of the Roller Boys. Yeah. And Pray for the Wildcats with Andy Griffith. And I think William Shatner was in that. That one's worth a watch. Got a foam rubber katana in my basement. Nice. Basements are for Asians. I mean, nothing. Right now, there's a fucking squirrel down there, and I hate him. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm just ranting and raving at this point. But thank you all for coming out. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much for the donations. It helps quite a bit. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, like the stream, all that crap. Demolition Alley, that's a good one too. There were a lot of great 80s cheese movies. 80s and 90s were amazing for it. But again, thank you guys for coming out. Thanks for everything. It is really, really appreciated. And hopefully we will see you on the next one. But in the meantime, have a good night. I'll probably do a movie stream because now I want to do that at some point in the next month or so. Later, Jack, maybe on Monkey Stream. Hopefully Monkey's feeling better soon. But you guys have a good one, and we'll see you around somewhere. Thanks, guys. Later.